but there have been some pieces calling you out saying that you've exaggerated things like your connection to law enforcement. Is there anything you would like to clarify about your past remarks or things you've said with us today?
Well, one of the things, I'm glad you brought that up, because the law enforcement right now, I have probably more law enforcement that is endorsed me than anyone in the state of Georgia that is running right now. And one of the things they endorse me because I have worked with law enforcement for many years. I will continue to support law enforcement because they need people to have their backs. Right now, this is one of the toughest times to be in law enforcement. Our men and women in blue need our elected officials to have their backs. And I've worked with law enforcement for many, many years, not just in the state of Georgia, but all over the United States of America. I've worked with law enforcement. And, they've been made fun of it. And I did train in Quantico with the FBI. And that's what they made fun of me. But one thing about Herschel Walker, and I talk about myself in third person sometimes, and I know that. One thing you can say about me is I never stay down. I get up. I move forward, because a strong man is not a man that always want to show strength, but he can show weakness, but he get up from that and he do something to change it. And that's what I've done my whole life.
But Herschel, just sorry to harp on this, but to clarify, you've never been a sworn peace officer. You've never actually worked as a law enforcement officer, right?
No, what I've done is help law enforcement, and like different with the prison system. I've helped them to get points whenever they get points for different, I think, ratings that they have to have. So I've worked with law enforcement in doing that, and I've been at many speeches with law enforcement as well. And I think that's what the people don't want to admit. I've always had our law enforcement men and women backs, and that's what I will always continue to do.
There's a piece from Axios. It was written by our own Fox News Radio political analyst Josh Kraushaar, and he says control of the Senate will come down to Nevada, Pennsylvania, and Georgia, that whichever party wins at least 2 of those 3 seats will hold power in the Senate. I know, because you've told us, that you're used to pressure on the field, but how much pressure do you feel here?
Well, there's pressure here. There's pressure here, and that's the reason I'm campaigning. I'm getting out, seeing the people, because we talked about earlier. They've spent right now almost $54 million against me already. But I think the Georgia people are speaking, because we talked about that earlier as well. Right now, the race is virtually tied, meaning the Georgia people are saying they want new leadership, and I'm going to win this seat back for them.
Okay, last question for you. Your opponent, Senator Warnock, he does have something of a record as senator, even if it's just been a 2-year term thus far. I know some people in the Republican Party question if he's accomplished a lot, but he likes to highlight that he pressured the federal government to get more funds for the Port of Savannah to help with supply chain backlogs, and highlights that he's worked with and praised Senator Ted Cruz about getting this major interstate highway completed, I think out of Texas. And he said he's been working to get incentives for Georgia's growing solar manufacturing industry, and some of that is actually in the Inflation Reduction Act. And he says that creates jobs. If you guys debate and this, happens, and he pulls those references out and he highlights those things, what do you say back to him?
Well, the only thing you can say back, look where we're at today. Let's be honest. Right now, this economy is failing. Right now, there's crime on the street. Right now, you have wokeness in our school, wokeness in our military. This board is wide open. He's done some things. And what are those things being? Now it's time for midterms. It's time for people to vote. So he's pretending that he cares. If he cares, he would have done this when he got into office. Right now, don't do it now. And I always tell people, don't run now. It's too late to run. But now is to prove who you are. And as Maya Angelou said, if somebody show you who they are, believe them. He showed us who he was when he got to Washington and voted with Joe Biden 96% of the time. And the polls have shown they're headed in the wrong direction. But yet they would not turn around to vote with the people of the United States or vote with the people of Georgia.
Republican Senate candidate in Georgia, Herschel Walker, thank you so much for your time.
Hey, thank you so much. And I encourage everyone to go to teamherschel.com. And let's win this seat back for the great people of Georgia.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1 and NewstalkSTL.com.
First, we decide where we want to go. Then we need to know the best way to get there. Hi, my name's Adam Barada. I'm the owner of Advantage Gold. We're the highest rated precious metals firm in the country. We teach people how to own physical gold and silver. Now, we've won the Best of TrustLink Award 4 years in a row because we educate our clients on how to buy gold and silver the right way. We don't pay celebrity spokespeople millions of dollars. We'd rather pass that value on to you. Call 800-900-8000 and speak with one of our experts. We'll send you a free gold kit along with my latest #1 national best-selling book, The Great Devaluation. Call 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000. Get the best information, the best process, the best service, the best value. Call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000. Call 800-900-8000.
Advantage Gold is not an investment advisor or a tax advisor. Consult with your financial advisor before investing.
Here's a message just for the attorneys out there. So you passed the bar, joined a firm, or even built your own. Now are you finding out that you're doing more administration than actual law practice? Lexicon can help. Lexicon is a legal technology provider with over a decade of experience streamlining administrative tasks like timekeeping, billing, and more, so you can focus on maximizing billable hours and increasing client satisfaction. Call 855-4-LEXICON or visit lexiconservices.com/go to learn more.
We tried Dynovite nutritional supplement, and after a couple of weeks, we noticed a big difference. Our little Gizmo's coat was shinier, and there was a lot less scratching and shedding.
My dog smelled and scratched constantly. We bathed and sprayed her, took her to the vet, but no results. Now, a little Dynovite in her food helps Bella keep her beautiful coat with no scratching or smell.
Happier, healthier with every bite. Over 1 million pets helped with Dynovite.
Columbo and Katie.
In the middle of all the drama at the border, President Biden just gave over $40 million to a group that helps illegal immigrants stay in the country. We'll discuss it Thursday with Crane Durham at 2:25.
Weekdays at 2 on NewstalkSTL.
Oh, Hank, what a wonderful spider web you have built for us. I love this fabulous space we have right here in the corner of the kitchen.
Thanks, Charlotte. I think I'll build us a vacation web in the coat closet. Oh, no. It's the pest control company again with those green wheels. They always kill the move.
This is Derek, the owner of All Solutions Pest Control. Give us a call today at 636-486-7888. We'd love to help you out. Learn more about our special $67 offer. You can visit us online at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
Optimus volunteers contribute time and money to programs that inspire and bring out the best in kids. Optimus give leadership, guidance, and hands-on involvement to activities that shape young people's lives. Optimus help form positive attitudes in kids. And Optimus create opportunities for youth as they develop into adulthood and become role models for future generations. Optimists are doing all of these things right here, right now in our community. If that sounds like the kind of positive action you'd like to take part in, consider joining the local Optimists. You'll have an opportunity to make a real difference in the lives of kids right here. You'll be helping young people develop positive attitudes and approaches to life that will enable them to excel in school and in our community. Volunteer. All it takes is an hour or two of your time. That's not much to help bring out the best in kids. For the location of your nearest Optimist Club, call 1-800-500-8130.
Got some news for you.
When it's important to you, stay informed. It's on News Talk STL.
The Federal Reserve hiked interest rates again.
Inflation, gas prices, fuel, it's all up.
There were vocal protests against mobilization.
Russia and Putin are struggling badly.
We got to give our men and women of Homeland, Border Patrol eyes.
We're in favor of America. We're in favor of an America First economic policy, an America First foreign policy.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. News, analysis, and opinion.
Israel and to Egypt.
Stay tuned to hear more history as it unfolds before your ears. It's the audio archives of Fox News Talk.
Start Saturday strong with America's #1 game. Big Noon Saturday on Fox. What a run! It all starts at 10 Eastern with Big Noon kickoff live from Iowa City. Touchdown, Michigan! Then, running back Blake Corum leads Michigan's dominant ground game in a tough road test against Iowa. Let's go! The best pregame, the best announcers, the biggest games. Michigan, Iowa, Saturday at noon Eastern on Fox.
Good morning. It's Thursday, September 29th. This is the Fox News Rundown. Hurricane Ian continues to batter Florida, although weakened. It's slow moving and expected to inundate Orlando next, which could see up to 30 inches of rain. Florida National Guard expected to start soon deploying to help those affected by Ian, either from flooding or storm damage today. President Biden will receive a briefing on Ian on ongoing federal response efforts at FEMA. And tonight, the president hosts the U.S. Pacific Island Country Summit to demonstrate what the White House is calling the U.S.'s deep and enduring partnership with the Pacific Island countries. I'm Sue Guzman on the Fox News Rundown.
This is the Fox News Rundown.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1 and NewstalkSTL.com. This is what's happening.
Secure border.
This border is a disaster.
Massive chaos that's happening. Interest rates remain high.
News, analysis, opinion.
What comes next?
Got some news for you.
This is News Talk STL.
Hi, I'm Dr. Alan Link, owner of the Dental Link. You've heard ads about teeth in a day, but did you know that you will be chewing on plastic, acrylic teeth? Here at the Dental Link, we can give you porcelain crown and bridge teeth utilizing mini dental implants that function much more like real teeth at about half the cost. Plus, mini dental implants are less invasive, less painful, and your recovery time is much shorter. Give us a call at 314-794-6464 or simply visit us today at thedentallink.com.
Colombo here for Agers Heating and Air Conditioning. We trust Agers with our home because their number one priority is doing right by the customer. Temperatures are changing outside, and as we transition from warmer temps to cooler ones, if you have any issues keeping your family comfortable, don't wait. Call the great team at Agers so they can address the issue before it gets worse. Because whether it's repairs or replacement, Agers is there with the clarity and attention to detail your home deserves. Contact Agers now at 636-242-6515 or through their website, callagers.com.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. We leave no warrior behind. Wounded Warrior Project is a non-profit organization created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war. Whether those scars are physical or mental, we're here to make sure that they heal. And whether it's helping those with post-traumatic stress disorder live a normal life again, or giving much-needed support to injured warriors in veterans' hospitals, because no one deserves our help more than the men and women who risk their lives to keep us safe. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Listen anytime.
It happens
anywhere.
Everywhere.
Every day continues to bring more news
with the News Talk STL app. Keep St. Louis's home for conservative talk with you wherever you go. Download the News Talk STL app in the App Store or at NewstalkSTL.com.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. But first, I am excited about a new streaming platform called VidGo. VidGo gives you the freedom to be entertained at a price you can afford. VidGo has all of my favorite live sports networks. They have a great choice of news. All of that for $59 a month. You deserve the freedom to be entertained at a price you and your family can afford. Please go to VidGo, VidGo.com/Bill to check it out. On this Thursday, the pursuit of power, money, and fame is the express lane to hell. That's documented in my brand new book, Killing the Legends, but also expands to the political situation today. For example, Vlad Putin had it all. Complete power in Russia, billions of dollars, and every option in this world open to him. It was not enough. Putin is destroying himself, his country, and innocent Ukrainians for what? Nothing. He is waging war simply because he can. No other legitimate reason. Eventually, Putin will go down, but he'll take plenty of folks with him. In the USA, Joe Biden has renounced every single principle he ever held in order to achieve power and fame. He once opposed abortion. He was once tough on crime. He was considered a moderate Democrat. Now he's a far-left zealot. Why? Because that was Biden's pathway to power. Fame crushes most of those who seek it. Not all, but the vast majority. It is an unnatural state. And in America today, it is a blood sport. That prevents some smart, honest people from serving the public, entering the arena. And so we get ruthless and calculating leadership. Not good. Back after this. No question, there is a concerted effort to intimidate and silence conservative thinkers and replace our God-given individual liberty with big government controls. AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, is the leading conservative advocacy and benefits organization in America. AMAC gives you access to exclusive benefits and all kinds of great content. Please stand with AMAC at amac.us. That's amac.us. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
From the NewstalkSTL Weather Center.
I'm News 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton with your first alert forecast. Another chilly night tonight, low down to 46, and then a little bit warmer in the afternoon, 70 for the high. Still below the normal 76, but sunny skies and turning a touch more mild Thursday. That's the trend. Friday, a little more mild. Still cool in the morning at 48, but a high of 73 Friday and sunny skies. That's the latest first alert forecast. I'm News 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. News, analysis, opinion. Let's get the conversation started, St. Louis. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Campaigns and hurricanes and government shutdowns. Oh my. Yeah, a lot going on. Here's a spoiler. The federal government is going to find a way to keep going and spending an awful lot of money. We've got the updates for you. Remember, in theory, that deadline is tomorrow for Congress and the president to come up with, billions and trillions of dollars to keep spending money. Yeah, that's getting done. We'll have the updates for you just ahead. I'm Mike Ferguson. Thanks for making News Talk STL part of your morning. We've got a very special museum in St. Louis. Now, stay with me here because, yes, it has to do with history, but it's also important to the future as well. Amy Lutz from the Kaplan-Feldman Holocaust Museum, which is in St. Louis County, joined us on yesterday's program. They're about to have a big reopening because they shut down for renovations and expansion, and it's got an awful lot to offer. Here is what is going to be available to everybody, and here's Amy explaining why it is so important. You ought to think about taking your family or your group out there at some point soon. The St. Louis Kaplan-Feldman Holocaust Museum has been closed for a while. Feldman Holocaust Museum has been closed for a while. I think a lot of people don't realize that the Holocaust Museum has been closed because they've been doing some renovations, been doing a lot of upgrades, a lot of expansions that are happening. So it's one of those things where you had to close down in order to come back much better. So all of it was planned, and all of it is about growth. And we're joined by their communications director now, Amy Lutz. And hey, Amy, welcome back to the program. Now, you're not actually fully opened up yet, but you're getting there. People can still get at least some information from you at this point, right?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me back. So we are opening in 35 short days. The museum is going to reopen on November 2nd. We're getting really close. If you've driven past the museum at any time on the corner of Lindbergh and Schutz, it looks like a museum. Looks like what it's going to look like. But we are in the final stages of putting in artifacts, of putting in exhibits. And it should be really great. We've got memberships on sale. We're going to have tickets on sale next week, and we're just really excited to open in about a month.
Good morning, Amy. Gabe Pfeiffer here. So what can a visitor, a new visitor to the museum expect when they get there in November?
Absolutely. So this new museum is actually 4 times the size of our previous museum. So when visitors come in our beautiful entrance or beautiful lobby, they will have the opportunity to go through the permanent Holocaust exhibition, which takes visitors through the entire chronology of the Holocaust. And one of our principles here at the museum is the concept of safely in and safely out. This is really tough history. This is not something that it's something that's interesting. It's something that's important, but it can be tough. And so we want to bring people in with the proper mindset, bring them out in the most proper way possible. And so people have the opportunity to experience that. We're going to have speakers. We're going to have film series. We'll have special exhibitions. There will be a lot going on.
Yeah, and I want to follow up on that. I mean, I love history museums. I've been to many of them around the country. I'm kind of just an amateur history nerd. But when you get into areas of history, including the Holocaust, this isn't going to be a typical, obviously like a war museum. If you go if you go across the state over to Kansas City, you've got the National World War I Monument Museum, which is very, very well done. But you can go in and be jovial and just to learn. That's really interesting. Boy, those soldiers had it tough. This is a whole different thing. And so it's not just about a museum experience. Hey, let's go have some fun, enjoy history. There's so much more that people are going to have to take from it, frankly, probably whether they like it or not, I would think.
Absolutely. This is not a museum that, to your point, you're not going to walk in jovial and bouncing and happy, but it's an important place. And it's an impactful place. It's a powerful place. I can tell you, as someone who, yes, works at a Holocaust museum, but is also a historian, this is an important history, and it's a life-changing history. You hear so much about people bringing up all these comparisons to the Holocaust, to World War II, with Hitler and the Nazis, all in the news. So it's important to actually know this history, because I can tell you personally that learning this history, going through this experience in the museum, it really makes you think about your choices, how we interact with other people, how we talk about other people, how we kind of find our place in this world. And so, yeah, it's going to be a much different experience than going to, say, the World War I museum, but it's an important one, and it's one that I think will have a big impact on the city and the region.
Let me follow up on something you just said, because especially in an election season like this, I mean, obviously politics are very divisive. That's the nature of politics, but it's to the point where it's become trite or cliche to compare your political appointment to Hitler, to compare a party, to compare a candidate, to compare an office holder, to compare a, branch of the government or a department to Hitler and to the Nazis. Talk to that for a second, because, I mean, to some degree, both sides do it, but we see a lot of it, on the left. We see a lot of it on the right. And when people are doing that, what should they keep in mind? Because, I mean, it gets under my skin, but give the reason why we really ought to be more careful and just simply say, no, because they disagree with you politically or they're doing something you don't like, that doesn't compare them to freaking Hitler and the Nazis.
Sure. I mean, to your point, we do see this all the time. And I think actually there's something very sad about it. And the answer really is education. Because if you know enough about the Holocaust, I've told people this before, once you get to a certain point in the knowledge about the Holocaust, the knowledge about what happened, it actually makes it really, really difficult to make those comparisons, because you know how difficult it was. You know the faces of the people who suffered. You know the names. You know their experiences. And so I think the answer really is education. I hope people would come to this museum, take other opportunities to learn more about the Holocaust, because, making these comparisons are often very simplistic. They're usually not accurate. There's certainly lessons we can learn from the Holocaust. I mean, look at what's happening in China with the Uyghurs. I mean, there's some connections we can make in terms of oppression and things like that. But, I think the answer is education, and I think, I do wish people would be more careful using these terms, because I know they're powerful rhetorically, but people really suffered during the Holocaust, and it's not really fair to their story that these terms are used so lackadaisically.
As far removed as we are from the events, I know young people are more and more ignorant, basically, of what happened there. I mean, we don't even remember 9/11. So remembering the Holocaust seems, so far removed from, I think, any experience for these young people. How is the museum going to connect with the young folks? Maybe even getting schools in and field trip and things like that. Talk about that.
Great question. So schools and students are our primary audience. I can tell you last week, or week before, we actually just released our entrance form for group tours and school tours, and we have been overwhelmed by the response. So that is really one of our primary goals, is to get the younger generations into the museum. Because you're correct. I mean, there is a dwindling amount of knowledge in all generations about the Holocaust. And it's important. Yes, it was, over 75 years ago, but anyone who goes through a Holocaust museum, anyone who knows the story, knows that it's a human story. It's not something that's unique to 1933 to 1945. It's not something that's unique to a certain geographical area. It's an experience that everyone can learn from, because it teaches you about choices, it teaches you about humans, and it teaches you about how we should treat other people.
We're visiting with Amy Lutz from the Kaplan Feldman Holocaust Museum in St. Louis. We just got a minute or so left here, Amy. But what does a membership get you, as opposed to just walking up and buying a ticket and contemplating what's on display?
Absolutely. So members are among the, most important group of people to our museum. So members get unlimited access to the museum. They get early access to special exhibitions. They get special access to certain programs, discounts at the museum gift shop, discounts on certain programs. And it gives you access to things that other groups of people might not have access to, but non-members might not have access to. And, our base membership, we have an educator membership for $36. The base membership is $54 a year. And I can tell you, knowing what kind of programs we have coming forward, that will pay in dividends. It will be very much worth it to be a member of this museum.
All right. And what's the website? People want to check it out or get their reservations in. And when does the reopening actually happen?
We reopen on November 2nd, and people can find all about that at stlholocaustmuseum.org.
All right. Amy Lutz, Kaplan Feldman Holocaust Museum right here in St. Louis. Hopefully more people know about it right now than knew about it 10 minutes ago. Amy, appreciate you being on the program.
Thanks for having me on.
We've got that News Talk STL morning news roundup coming your way in just about 4 minutes right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. Let's get the day started right. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
St. Louis, it's Joe Pags. Proud to be part of the News Talk STL lineup. Every weeknight from 7 to 10, we'll get together to talk about what's going on. News, analysis, opinion. You won't hear anything like it in St. Louis. The Joe Pags Show, every weeknight at 7 on News Talk STL. Welcome home.
Since 2007, the state of Missouri and local governments have handed out almost $5 billion in tax subsidies or abatements to private developers. That money could have gone to basic services like schools and public safety. And studies show these subsidies don't produce the promised jobs and growth. If developers want to build a sports stadium or shopping mall, why should they be given our tax dollars to do it? It's time to reform economic development subsidies. The Show Me message has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
She's a great conservative author, film producer, Nina May.
And I keep telling my liberal friends, I say, you think you're going to escape this? No, this is exactly what totalitarian governments do. They start with the low-hanging fruit, and then they're going to go after you because they can't trust you. No, we're going to have to line you guys up against the wall and shoot you.
Wow. You have liberal friends?
Vic Porcelli, live and local weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Are you looking for the cheapest prices on car insurance? Then call the Cheap Car Insurance Hotline right now. Hey, you're guaranteed to save money on your car insurance. Most car insurances can be canceled at any time. That means if you find a better deal, you can switch right away. We're not just one company. We offer most of the major brands of car insurance. We're like a discount supermarket for car insurance. And it doesn't matter if you have a good record or a bad driving record. Our agents are experts at finding you the right car insurance for your needs. Our average customer saves hundreds of dollars a year when they call us to switch. So why don't you make this 100% free call right now and see how much you can save on your car insurance. Paid for by AIS Insurance.
800-721-5741. 800-721-5741. 800-721-5741. That's 800-721-5741.
News, analysis, opinion.
There's still anti-science and anti-governance.
Democrats offer a vision for a better America.
He's losing support and enthusiasm among the base.
101.9 and 94.1.
You're going in for a problem.
News Talk STL. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Having your first cup of coffee? Mike's on his third. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
All right, a few big things are happening here. Well, lots of big things are happening, but I think leading up the headlines right now, federal lawsuit challenges the student loan forgiveness plan. We mentioned this yesterday, but later on today, right around, I think we're going to do this at, what we're doing this, about 7:05. We're actually going to hear from the organization that filed that federal lawsuit yesterday. They're going to be on News Talk STL from the group that filed the challenge, Pacific Legal Foundation. Asking very quickly, very bluntly, why challenge this when there are tens of millions of people who are probably getting ready to say, yay, free money. We talked about that yesterday here. Bad policy, but if it's right there in front of you, are you going to take it or you're not going to take it? But they've got an interesting plaintiff who's going to challenge this, and a lot of legal experts are saying this may be the only way to get this ruled unconstitutional. So don't assume that $10,000 or $20,000 of student loan debt is actually going to disappear off your balance.
I thought the other issue was that Joe Biden didn't have the authority to spend that much money.
Well, it's not so much that he doesn't have the authority to spend that much money. It's do it in that way.
Yeah,
is really what it comes down to. It's a little bit. It's kind of nuanced and technical, but it's one way or the other going to affect everybody. And there are some people saying, "Hey, I want that amount taken off my balance." But the other side of it is, but then you could have completely unfettered power for any president from here on out.
Yeah, I mean, what's to stop? Okay, so then this happens. We spend $400 billion for this. At least, yeah. Mm-hmm. Then the next president comes in and says, I want to do the same thing.
Right. That's it. And it could very well be somebody of a different party. You never know what the political makeup's going to be. What you're going to hear, I think, is that Pacific Legal is going to be arguing. They're not even argue whether they think the loan forgiveness is a good or bad idea. They're just saying, hey, we've got a set of rules here, and you can't go outside of those. So Interesting conversation. 7:05, the organization that made national headlines less than 24 hours ago by filing that lawsuit, going to be on News Talk STL. All right, speaking of the president, we're going to talk about this let's do this right off the bat, right around 6:05. Infamously now, the president looks around a room at a White House conference event asking, where is she? Talking about somebody who literally died over a month ago.
Yeah.
This isn't going to be the normal, hey, let's make fun of Joe Biden because we don't like him and his politics. This is bad. I mean, this
really
is
bad.
Really, really bad. And I'm telling you right now, I'm looking for a very level-headed conversation here. So, liberal friends, listen, I want to hear from you. 314-912-1019. Yes, we absolutely go after Joe Biden for the silly, confused things he says sometimes. But this is getting really bad. I mean, if you can tell me why you don't think we should be concerned about his mental acuity.
At least have him do the cognitive test like they made Trump do immediately, and he passed it.
Okay. Also, Missouri lawmakers still trying to get a tax cut deal done. Is this whole special session deteriorating into a debacle? Well, we're going to talk to Bob Onder about that. He's there. He's there. All right, so those are some of the headlines. Let's also get an update of what's happening in Florida. The storm. Hurricane Ian, it is still on the moon. Obviously, it's moving up inland, so therefore, thank goodness, at least it's losing some power at the moment.
I'm sorry, it sounded like you said it's still on the moon.
On the moon, on the move. It is still on the move. Now, once it gets back over water, it could pick up steam again. It's like South Carolina is bracing for this. But much of southwest Florida is now just left in a mess. I mean, just huge devastation here. Fox News' Eben Brown reports he's in Tampa.
Blistering winds and record storm surge were the work of Ian in places like Fort Myers and Naples and Sanibel. People tried to take video with their phones looking over what was left and what was surrounded by salty, mucky seawater.
That was my house. My house is gone. So, for everyone wondering, it's not livable.
She's not alone. Even if homes are standing, they could be waterlogged and will need immediate recovery to avoid mold and rot. And even if damage is minor, the power is not on, which means no air conditioning. And it's hot. In Tampa, Eben Brown, Fox News.
About 2 million people right now in southwest Florida are without power.
Wow, that's a lot.
And while it's not the hottest part of the year in Florida, it is obviously, as Eben Brown was talking about, pretty hot out there. The video of this is just, I mean, it's just insane. And there was one video I saw of Naples, and I do know a little bit about Naples because my in-laws lived there. I mean, they've both passed away since then, but they actually lived in Naples, so I kind of recognized what part of town that was. Water up. It's like it was here a couple of months ago with that flash flooding that we had all over Brentwood and Clayton and parts of St. Louis, and it looked like that, except think of that on just a massive, thousands and thousands of miles of square miles.
One of the reports that I found really interesting is that there are people living there that have never experienced that in a generation, and also there are a lot of new people that live there that have never experienced it. So this is all new to many people.
Very new, and there are people who were there who have been through some of these who goes, it's another hurricane, it's Florida, and they realize this one's different.
Yeah.
This one was much bigger. I saw one video, you always get those quirky, weird ones, of a street that was in Fort Myers, which I've been to a number of times, of a shark swimming up the street.
Nice.
Yeah. So you know that kind of stuff's going to happen. All right, local news here. Former Sam Page administration official Tony Weaver, remember him?
Yeah.
He's one of the administrators on the jail appointed by Sam Page. He's now indicating, or his lawyer's now indicating, that Weaver's about to plead guilty to federal fraud charges, wire fraud charges.
Wow.
So I've got the update for you on that. We're going to start that around 6:20. It's not just about Tony Weaver. This is the culture of corruption that we've come to know with the Page administration.
So I was going to ask you just now, do you think that there's going to be any implications with Sam Page and his candidacy?
There should be, but I don't know that there will be. I think local media is going to try to insulate Sam Page from this. And obviously we're looking for anything that's going to shine a bad light on Sam Page, which just means we just have to shine the light on Sam Page because there's really nothing good on this guy. So we'll tell you what's going on with Tony Weaver. And remember, just remind you, this is part of the bigger picture. How do people like Tony Weaver get into administrative high-ranking positions under the Page administration? Because Sam Page doesn't show any interest in ethics or corruption or he doesn't show any interest in ethics. He doesn't show any interest in transparency, and that leads to corruption, and corruption just seems to be part of the culture.
And if it was just one instance, then okay, let's investigate and move on. But there are multiple instances of his lack of judgment.
Yes, everybody swings and misses on something. I've made a bad hire a time or two in my life.
Yeah,
it happens.
Yeah.
But what we're getting here isn't so much a bad hire. You're getting people who reflect Sam Page's outlook and values.
Yes.
That's what we're getting. Just a heads up here, Spire says look for bigger bills this winter. Obviously, the price of natural gas is going up. You can trace that right on back to the Biden administration's policies. You can also attribute that to world events to a smaller degree. But come December, they are asking the Public Service Commission to allow them to increase rates because their wholesale cost is going up. So expect your bills to go up in December. We don't know how much yet, but it's going up.
All Biden has to do is allow us to get our natural gas from home.
Yeah. Yeah, and more of it. Allow more fracking.
More of it,
allow more. Yeah, exactly. We're basically the Saudi Arabia of natural gas.
We're floating. They're saying we're floating on 1,000 years of natural gas.
Yeah, we've got centuries worth of power, and they just won't allow us to tap that the way that we should. Last year, Spire raised their rates, got permission to do that, and it meant that on the average, your gas bill went up about $14 a month in the St. Louis region. So we don't know whether that's going to be something like that or whether it's going to be bigger, whether it's going to be smaller. But Spire on their website's already put out a bunch of, hey, here's some energy-saving tips to put out there. Maybe worth looking at. Quick note here. According to Forbes, Maryland Heights is one of the most livable communities for families in America. They put out a top 25 list. Maryland Heights comes in at number 19. They said they considered education, resources for aging people, general wellness, financial health, and livability were all on the list. You can find that at Forbes.com.
And not only that, but you never really normally hear, and I'm going to knock on wood here, that you never normally hear about crime in that area.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a couple of things. There was the shooting at the Maryland Heights Community Center a few years ago.
Yeah. But it's not frequent.
Not as frequent as St. Louis City. Not as frequent as some others. So that was all considered in there. So 19th best place to live for family living. Ann Arbor, Michigan was number 1 on that list. So I guess congratulations to Maryland Heights for making that list. Cardinals lost to the Brewers 5-1 last night, which, you know what, I could have predicted that.
You did predict it.
Yeah, because the Cardinals, in case nobody saw the TV, they all basically drowned themselves in booze after winning the NL Central.
Yeah, you know what I heard? It's a thing where you wear the goggles or you don't wear the goggles to experience the burn, feel the burn.
Man.
That was the hashtag. And Arenado, he went in that locker room and he felt the burn.
Oh, yes, he did.
Without goggles.
Every other word, somebody was dousing him in that. So the Cardinals are off today. The Pirates come to town, and they start a series with Pittsburgh tomorrow. And I got a feeling that stadium's going to be full tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right, just ahead here, President Biden. Folks, this is really bad. I'm talking about his cognitive ability right now, not even so much his policies. Let's have a real conversation about it just ahead.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on News Talk STL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
For $1 a day, if any covered appliance breaks in your home, we guarantee to fix or replace it. All makes and models, washers, dryers, refrigerators, air conditioners, and more. Guaranteed to be fixed or replaced for $1 a day. Call the Home Service Club now for free information.
800-399-3701. 800-399-3701. 800-399-3701. That's 800-399-3701.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefontaine, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewsTalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Parts of Florida devastated by one of the strongest hurricanes the state has seen. Now a tropical storm, Ian roared ashore yesterday as a Category 4 hurricane in southwest Florida. The destruction it caused described as catastrophic, with fierce winds and widespread flooding. And the threat is not over as Ian moves to the northeast, now hammering central and eastern Florida, including Orlando and Jacksonville.
We are seeing some flooding issues occurring over portions of the state, and until the center can move offshore and that rain shield can move with it, that flooding concern is going to continue through the morning.
Robbie Berg at the National Hurricane Center. More than 2 million utility customers without power. Tens of thousands of linemen are ready to begin the daunting task of getting the lights back on once it's safe to do so. High water rescue teams also deploying along with a host of other emergency workers. And once Ian is done with Florida,
we do expect that the center of Ian is going to move off the east coast of Florida later today and then turn northward over parts of the Atlantic Ocean as it heads toward the South Carolina coast.
With states of emergency in effect as far north as Virginia. Well, forget the recession. New poll finds a lot of people fear a depression is in the offing.
The latest Rasmussen Report's national telephone and online survey finds that 57% of American adults believe it's likely that over the next few years, the United States will enter a 1930s-like depression, including 21% who think a depression is very likely. 32% don't think a depression is likely, and another 12% are not sure. These findings haven't changed much since May, when 55% said that the depression was likely in the next few years. The survey of 1,000 likely U.S. voters was conducted between September 22nd and 25th. The margin of sampling error was plus or minus 3%, with a 95% level of confidence. Bernie Bennett reporting.
Wall Street, Dow futures down 201 points. NASDAQ futures off 143 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
You know how much you're really paying for life insurance through work? I can almost guarantee you're overpaying for limited coverage. I'm Joel Clark, a Select Quote agent for over 20 years. My clients are shocked to learn how expensive life insurance at work really is because of a rate that's driven up by unhealthy people. Why pay more when you don't have to? For over 35 years, Select Quote has helped people save 50% or more by shopping highly rated insurance carriers. I found a 40-year-old man with high blood pressure, a $500,000 policy for only $18 a month. Don't procrastinate. Workplace open enrollment will be here soon. Let SelectQuote save you money and get you the coverage you need to protect your family.
For your free quote in just minutes, call 1-800-865-2266. That's 1-800-865-2266. 1-800-865-2266. Or go to SelectQuote.com.
Full details on example policy and carrier ratings at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Price could vary by health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Think It Up. 44 eastbound before Madison downtown. There's an accident blocking the two right lanes. Traffic is at a standstill as you approach 5564. Drivers should expect about an 11-minute delay right now. 270 northbound traffic's running 20 minutes from 55 to McDonald. There is a disabled vehicle blocking the right lane at Olive. In Illinois, westbound 270 from 5570 to McDonald. You're looking at a 23-minute commute. 40 from downtown to 270. Traffic's running about 12 minutes. Think It Up is an initiative to activate student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join at thinkitup.org. I'm Kat from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
I'm News 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton with your first alert forecast. Another chilly night tonight, low down to 46, and then a little bit warmer in the afternoon, 70 for the high. Still below the normal 76, but sunny skies and turning a touch more mild Thursday. That's the trend. Friday, a little more mild. Still cool in the morning at 48, but a high of 73 Friday and sunny skies. That's the latest first alert forecast. I'm News 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
If you're concerned about the current market and the 40-year record high inflation that we're seeing, you're not alone.
Credit card usage skyrocketing and at record highs, savings rates plunging.
It's 100% certainty that you're in recession now.
The good news is, for decades, Steve All and his team have been helping people just like you protect and grow your income. And most importantly, not run out of money.
My clients that are currently sitting there on guaranteed incomes, they're not really worried about what's happening in the market. So they're more at peace because every month that paycheck comes in.
Call Steve today for your customized market protection plan. 636-230-8824. That's 636-230-8824. or visit yourmoneymattersstl.com. Investment advisory services offered through Retirement Wealth Advisors, LLC. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance products, including annuities. Licensed in Missouri and Illinois.
The news and talk that affects St. Louis.
Raised interest rate by 0.75 percentage point.
Nothing short of bad.
Vladimir Putin threatened
not to ease tensions, but to escalate them through the threat of nuclear weapons.
This is 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
We have a hope.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up.
What do you call a genius in President Biden's Homeland Security Department? A visitor.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up.
All right, here's what's ahead here in the next little bit here. 6:20, a former Page administration official indicates now he's going to plead guilty to federal corruption charges. Kind of par for the course for the Page administration. We'll go over what's about to happen, at least according to his lawyer, and why this is par for the course.
It is par for the course, considering he's following his predecessor.
Stinger, yeah, exactly. And then around 6:35, our good friend Phil Kerpen from American Commitment, he's going to be with us. Looks like there's a deal in place to not shut down the government. Good deal, bad deal, probably bad deal, but Phil follows that stuff really, really closely, so we'll get his take on this. And also 6:50, okay, interesting question here. You know, Albert Pujols isn't the only one making milestones in this baseball season. It's been a really cool baseball season. Aaron Judge tied Roger Maris's American League record. I know it's St. Louis. We're not an American League town. However, here's why this is relevant to St. Louis, is Roger Maris Jr., he's really rooting for Aaron Judge to break his dad's record. And he says if he does that, Aaron Judge is truly the single-season home run champion. Not Barry Bonds, not Sammy Sosa, not Mark McGwire, because remember when we were all caught up in the home run hitting thing with Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire, I think Roger Maris Jr. is right, and I think Maris, McGwire, and Sosa should all be just completely discounted and forgotten in this realm.
Yeah, big asterisk at least.
Absolutely,
in their name.
there should be. So I know that's not going to go over
a
well
big
with-
one because it was steroid driven.
Yes. So
steroidal asterisks.
So asteroid on steroid. So I know that's not going to go over well with everybody, but I'm just curious what everybody thinks about that. So we'll talk about that right around 6:50, guys. All right. Gabe Pfeiffer is here. Ken Williams is here. My name is Mike Ferguson. All right. We're talking, we will go after President Biden's policies every day on this show because we think we're right. We think he's wrong. We understand the Constitution and basic economics, and he doesn't seem to. Outside of that, okay, 314-912-1019. And this isn't about politics. This isn't about Republican. This isn't about Democrat. This isn't about possible opponents in Ron DeSantis or Donald Trump or who's next on the Dem. It's not about that. At a White House event yesterday, and I'm sure you've seen people talking about it, the president was speaking, and he was thanking all the committee members who helped make this thing happen. It had to do with hunger and all that kind of stuff. And one of those was Representative Jackie Walorski from Indiana. Now, she's the one who was tragically killed in a car crash about a month ago, maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago, something like that. And he's thanking the members of Congress who were involved in this project, and he looks around and literally is trying to find her.
Representative Jackie, are you here? Where's Jackie? I didn't think she was going to be here to help make this a reality.
Oh, okay. So here's the thing is at this event, now, first of all, the Biden administration and the Bidens had previously put out the expected condolences. We're so sorry to, see here. We could work with, we worked with her across the aisle, et cetera, about a month ago. But at that event, they actually played a tribute video.
Oh, jeez.
No, I know. Yeah,
I mean,
my gosh.
Reminding people that she was part of this and that she was now passed away because of that car crash. And so,
Mike, can I ask you a question about this? Because I didn't see the whole thing.
Right.
This event, wasn't it based around her death? Wasn't a tribute to her? I mean,
no,
it wasn't.
It was a White House conference. It was a White House. Kind of mini conference on like hunger and
The
all
su-
that kind
the
of
subject
stuff.
at large,
Yeah, the
whatever.
subject
Oh,
at
okay.
large. It wasn't.
All
It
right.
wasn't about that. So the president gets up and he's actually looking around. Look, where is she?
He's looking
Where
for
is
her.
she? Okay, so I've got Karina Jean-Pierre's response from the White House on this, but yes, I want to hear from everybody. But listen, liberal friends, Democratic friends, listen, guys. I'm not arguing over Biden's policies right now. He's clearly in a state of cognitive decline.
Yeah.
Now, listen, I will walk into a room and forget while I was there sometimes.
Sure.
I did that yesterday. I go up to my office in my house. And I'm like, dang it, I meant to get that thing downstairs and go back downstairs and grab it.
Right,
come
I
back
did
up.
it yesterday, too.
We all do that, okay? He's literally looking around for somebody who has been dead for a month.
And who just had a tribute
played
minutes
there.
before, right?
Yeah, well, within
was
that
at
event.
the
So
Okay, it was
I
at
mean,
the event.
I don't know how much time. It was either minutes, maybe an hour, but
Maybe
it was
an
there.
hour.
I mean, it was there
at most. My
and
gosh.
so this is frightening when you've got somebody with immense power over all of our lives, more than any president should have. But that's the policy stuff. Who clearly has some level of cognitive impairment, dementia, whatever the case is. And this is the guy who purportedly is in charge. Democratic friends, are you concerned about this? Are you worried about this? It's not just that he's wrong on just about everything.
Which he is.
Which he is.
Yeah.
But that's not where we're at. We have a chief executive of this country who doesn't know where he is sometimes and loses track of reality. I mean, I'm still going to play the funny things where he garbles sentences and, he says goofy stuff, and I do that sometimes. But this is bad. This is the president of the United States. This is the man who is the top dog in this country, and he's mentally breaking down because of age or whatever other condition.
There are people on Twitter saying, just leave him alone. You can't leave the president of the United States alone when
Correct.
it comes to something like this.
Right, exactly.
If this was a person in an elderly home,
Mm-hmm.
and yes, you leave them alone.
Absolutely.
This person is the president.
Yep.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. And as the president, they are an employee. You know, this is the person we purportedly hired to do the job of running the country. They have immense power, right? That's it, and it's ensconced in the office and all of the surrounding paraphernalia of the thing. So how do we? Well, first of all, how do you justify keeping this particular person there?
Right.
And then what's the mechanism to deal with this? Because I mean, constitutionally, it's built around essentially the cabinet having to
25th Amendment
to remove them, and that's. I mean, I understand where the founders were coming from. There was an expectation that even the cabinet would be made of honorable people who would, have the best interests of the country at heart. But I'm not sure we can rely on that.
Well, but that was for cases like, for instance, where we literally had to worry about presidents being, on their deathbed at any given time.
Yeah, from general illness.
And so
right?
somebody could say, listen, they're unconscious, they're not getting better, we need to do, okay. In this case right here, it is very tricky because he does have moments of lucidity where he does, speak well, but he's having a seemingly increasing number of moments where he's not sure where he is or what he's saying or who's around him.
And I'm gonna go back to Trump because this was a big deal for him taking that cognitive test. And Trump said, and I remember there were Republicans saying, "Yeah, take it. You need to take the test." And so Trump did. He passed. Why? My big concern is why is the Democrat Party not allowing a cognitive test to be done? Wow. Because, the answer would be is because they know what they're going to get.
Yeah, I don't know that they're not allowing it, but they're certainly not.
They're not pushing one, right?
Here's what Karina Jean-Pierre. She of course knew she was going to have to deal with this. Here's an exchange she had with a reporter, and I don't know who the reporter was. It was not Peter Doocy, saying, "What the heck?" I mean, that's basically what the reporter is saying here.
Look. He was at an event, you all saw, you all watched, which is why you're asking the question, right, where he was calling out, again, congressional leaders, a bipartisan leadership that we have seen on this particular issue. And again, he's going to see her family in just 2 days. And she was on top of mind. I mean, that is not an unusual scenario there.
Maureen, I have John Lennon top of mind just about every day, but I'm not looking around for him anywhere.
When you sign a bill for John Lennon as president, then we can have this conversation.
Yeah, this just not unreasonable. Yeah, it is unreasonable.
She did not cover that at all.
Oh my gosh, that last line just that makes me want to cuss at her because it's like, oh, you're gonna pull this. Oh my gosh, and obviously, and this is kind of what I was getting at is that the people surrounding him who would know best are just going to cover for him.
They are covering,
and they are covering for him. That's what we're seeing. So, and those are the only people who have the power to do something about this. So we're stuck right now, and that's not a good place.
All right, your take on this: 314-912-1019. I know, very early in the morning, but still, phone lines are open now, and particularly Democratic friends, liberal friends. What's your take? I mean, I'm not here to argue with you on the policy stuff here. I'm just saying, are you not seeing what the rest of the world is seeing? We got time to talk about that. Also, just ahead here, we've got a Page administration official apparently about to plead guilty to federal charges. I'll update you at 6:21 on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
I've had enough of this. Turn my eyes to your indifference. Stop right now before you blow.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up, this is your cousin car. Get up, what are you waiting for? Get up.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
You want to give me more information?
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. 44 eastbound before Madison downtown. There's an accident blocking the two right lanes. Traffic is at a standstill as you approach 5564. And 270 northbound. All lanes are back open at Olive from an earlier disabled vehicle. Traffic's running about 21 minutes between 55 and McDonald. In Illinois, at 270 westbound from 5570 to McDonald, you're looking at about a 23-minute commute. There is construction work in the area of 170. 40 from downtown to 270, traffic's running about 13 minutes, and from 270 to the Boone Bridge, it's an additional 11 minutes. Thinking about an appliance purchase or having something installed like flooring, kitchen, or bath? You can count on Lowe's for credit options. See the store nearest you or go to Lowe's.com for details on the latest credit card offers going on now. I'm Kat from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
I'm Missouri's Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft. Voting is a right and a responsibility. You can always vote a provisional ballot on Election Day, but using a photo ID is the best way to vote. A valid Missouri driver's license, for example. If you need an ID, my office can help you get one for free. Either way, your vote counts. Check out sos.mo.gov or call my office. And remember, in Missouri, if you're registered, you can vote.
Sponsored by Missouri Secretary of State.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Senator Jim Talent.
We live in an age where saying common sense things is considered to be controversial or even revolutionary. Like, we need oil and gas. Yeah, I think we do. Or maybe we shouldn't shut down the schools. Maybe it's not a really great idea when troubled teenagers come in and just to rush to pump them full of drugs.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 3:30 on News Talk STL.
Hey folks, here's great news for active aging seniors. The Kanega Watch, the only medical alert smartwatch with built-in fall detection. Yeah, the Kanega Watch is much different than the other guys. It's a stylish, discreet watch you can wear all the time. Get help through the watch in one of three ways. Your voice, pushing the watch's alert button, or have the fall detection connect you to a US-based 24/7 monitoring center who'll speak to you through your watch and can send help to your GPS location nationwide. And get this, it can do that even if you're not responsive. This is true 24/7 peace of mind for you and those that love you. Order your Kanega watch with a full refund 30-day trial period. Call now. 800-413-7152. 800-413-7152. 800-413-7152. That's 800-413-7152.
Now, the Onder Prescription with Dr. Bob Onder.
In its parliamentary elections Sunday, Italy awarded Giorgia Meloni's Brothers of Italy party and their allies 43% of the vote, making it highly likely that Ms. Meloni will be the first female prime minister of Italy. In this era of identity politics, you would think American progressives would be celebrating this woman's extraordinary break through a long-standing glass ceiling. Think again. CNN decried Ms. Meloni as Italy's most far-right prime minister since Mussolini. The New York Times called her hard-right. What were her sins against progressive sensibilities? She's for secure borders. She's pro-life. She opposes the radical gender ideologues. And here's a shocker. She says that her coalition will defend God, family, and country. In other words, she's what we would call a common-sense conservative. And just like Italy, American voters will give common-sense conservatives big wins in November. I'm Dr. Bob, and that's my prescription.
Find more Dr. Bob Onder at bobondermo.com. Subscribe and watch your favorite News Talk STL shows.
Mike Ferguson in the morning. The Vic Porcelli Show. Columbo and Katie. Jones and Arps.
Webcam streaming on Facebook, Twitter, Rumble.
Subscribe and watch.
News Talk STL. This hour of Mike Ferguson in the morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and newstalkstl.com.
Our good friend Phil Kerpen from American Commitment is going to be with us at 6:35. They've come up with a deal to keep the government running for, well, just past election season to get all the Republicans and Democrats off the hook for not shutting down the government before the election. But right before the first of the year, when the new Congress is sworn in, possibly a different story. So we're going to get that update from D.C. Thing I like about Phil is he's definitely very, very conservative, but he's going to call balls and strikes. I'm really curious to get his opinion on the deal that was made or is being made, because he doesn't pull punches.
Right.
It doesn't matter who's in the wrong. So we'll have that conversation just ahead here. I'm Mike Ferguson. It is 6:23. Got Gabe Pfeiffer here. Got Ken Williams here. Tony Weaver. He was the jail liaison at the Westfall Justice Center, kind of medium-high position in the Page administration. He was a close ally and confidant of Sam Page. He was appointed there by Page. Now, there has been some paperwork that says that he is going to change his plea in a federal bribery and fraud case. So it looks like he's going to plead guilty on October 21st. Now, remember, Weaver was indicted back in May on 4 counts of wire fraud, and he is accused of, and it is reported that they have asked for a change of plea hearing, which, I mean, he pled not guilty, so right, what's he going to do? He was accused of being kind of the mastermind of a plan to get COVID-19 relief funding, which basically went to everything but COVID-19 for the most part around this country, and helping a local businessman with that process in exchange for getting a kickback of part of whatever he got, which is bad.
Yeah, you're not supposed to do that.
Don't
I remember that.
Well, oddly enough, though, I mean that's essentially the consultant job that you would get after you would leave, and you pass. We see this all the time.
Yeah.
You pass legislation. Your sibling or your cousin or you, after you've left office, you go and you become a consultant to help other people deal with the law that you made. Right. But the thing is, while you're there, I mean that's bad enough.
Yeah.
But while you're still in office, You can't do that.
Yeah. So 4 different loans were applied for by Weaver on behalf of this business, and they were falsely claiming that the businesses were shut down during the pandemic, which you would think would be reasonable because Sam Page shut down all sorts of stuff. So Weaver had to step down. Page said, "You got to go, dude," after the indictment. Not after the investigation, but after the indictment came. And so before, working in the jail as a Page lackey, he was a legislative aide for former city councilwoman Rochelle Walton Gray. And so he's been involved in St. Louis County government and politics for a decade. His attorney is not giving a statement. The wire fraud charge carries a penalty of up to 20 years in prison, a fine of up to $250,000. I would not expect that he's going to get either of those maximums. But this is a reminder. This is a common theme in the Page administration. We talk about how the St. Louis County has literally lost population. It used to be, 1 point something million. Now it's 960 some odd thousand. It's hostile to business. It's hostile to taxpayers. It's hostile to parents with children because you never know when the county government is going to overstep its bounds and try to shut things down and have this authoritarian approach to it. This affects people's lives, not just gotcha because we don't like Sam Page. We don't like Sam Page because of his corruption, because of his lack of transparency, because of his lack of ethics, because of his authoritarianism.
Yeah, if he was doing things beneficial for the county, he wouldn't be getting yelled at so much.
Right. And this is the case where you look at the upcoming election and nobody really likes the guy. Democrats, I think, pretend to, but I haven't met any Democrats other than, of course, I haven't actually met her in person, but I don't know any Democrats other than like Lisa Clancy and some of the fringe who really think highly of Sam Page as a executive, as an office holder, as a person. But what you've got is a leaning blue, kind of a light blue county that says, well, we just can't let Republicans win. So the Republicans have nominated, a Democrat.
Ugh.
So they have the opportunity to beat Sam Page. And Mark Mantovani has been on the station, 3 times now, I think, and he's going to be back on this show probably next week. Do I agree with everything he said? No. Do I wish that he'd come out and say, I would never shut everything down? No, he hasn't said that. He won't answer that question. But we know he'll be better than Sam Page.
Yeah, and that's pretty much all we've got right now.
Yeah, and if he is elected, which is possible, if he is elected, he knows that there is a mandate to not do the things that got Sam Page kicked out of office. So there is reason to say, all right, it's time to get behind Mantovani, not just because we don't like Sam Page, but because this is an improvement on what's happening with Sam Page. And I've actually heard people say, okay, then the next election, what happens if he runs as a Democrat? Who cares? It was a Democrat county anyway.
Yeah.
The important thing is that we don't have a corrupt individual at the top of the government anymore.
Yeah.
You got to take the wins where you can get them.
Yeah.
Right?
You really do because, you were saying, Mike, and we were talking earlier, Gabe, about how his administration, the Sam Page administration, the whole thing is just a mess because of all the things that have happened, not just one time, but many.
Mm-hmm.
And the picture that comes to my mind, I don't know if you guys remember, but Faisal Khan, the double finger, when he's walking out, that is the picture of the administration to me.
As a whole.
Toward, yes, as a whole, toward the people of the county.
Yeah, and Faisal Khan should have been let go many times. The county council, Democratic majority county council, made it very clear we will not hire this guy permanently. But Page just kept on and kept on and kept on. And then you go to, obviously, the thing with his side job in violation of the county charter. He still has not shown that he is in compliance with that, even after a charter amendment was passed by voters overwhelmingly targeting Sam Page.
Yeah.
So all the elements are there for people to say, we're tired of this guy. It's just whether or not the partisanship will win out. And in St. Louis County, partisanship is a very powerful force for voters.
And we can't forget about Sexy Cal either.
Oh, yes. Freaky Cal, man.
No, that's right. It was Freaky Cal.
And there was actually, the county council passed, new ordinances basically saying you can't do what Freaky Cal did and have sex on county property. It passed. Tim Fitch pointed out that Sam Page refused to sign the ordinance. He didn't veto it, but he refused to sign it. It's still the ordinance. It's still the law in the county because there were enough votes.
Why?
That's Sam Page. I mean, this is why this guy needs to be sent back into the private sector.
Oh, my God.
It's just unbelievable. And again, you know, I know we've got Democrats, we've got liberals who listen to the show and just hate everything I say. I mean, I'm challenging you in good faith on this. I mean, you've got Mark Mantovani, who's been a lifelong Democrat. Okay, he's got an R behind his name on this one. He didn't change anything he believes in. Are you telling me there's an excuse to vote for Sam Page just because he's got a D behind his name? Really? Really? All right. Just ahead here, looks like the federal government is not going to shut down, unfortunately. And we're going to talk to Phil Kerpen and get the update from the D.C. area on what's actually being made as far as the deal to keep government open. That's at 6:35 here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning, made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. Decision 22 News.
Inflation, gas prices.
Decision 22 Analysis.
The things the American people want to hear about.
Decision 22 Opinion.
Same old tired talking points.
In St. Louis, Decision 2022 happens right here. News Talk STL.
From the News Talk STL newsroom, I'm Joey Vasovich. Tony Weaver, a former high-level political appointee of St. Louis County Executive Sam Page, is expected to plead guilty to federal corruption charges involving a COVID-19 relief funds fraud scheme. Weaver scheduled a change of plea hearing for October 21st. He was indicted along with 3 St. Louis aldermen after an FBI informant wore a wire capturing them involved in a series of alleged corruption schemes. Fortune released its inaugural 25 Best Places to Live for Families list yesterday, naming Maryland Heights as the 19th best place. Maryland Heights was the only Missouri location recognized on the list. Ann Arbor, Michigan finished first. The Crestwood McDonald's, where an iconic photo of musicians David Lee Roth and Eddie Van Halen was taken 44 years ago, is having its grand reopening today. There will be a ribbon-cutting ceremony with the original photographer, and the photo will be permanently displayed in the dining room. And in sports, Bally Sports and the St. Louis Cardinals will have 2 7-foot-tall greeting cards for fans of Albert Pujols and Yadier Molina to sign before Friday and Saturday's games at Busch. The cards will then be presented to Pujols and Molina before Sunday's game. And the Cardinals lost to the Brewers 5-1 in Milwaukee last night. Next up, the Redbirds wrap up the regular season with 6 games against the Pirates. The first 3 games will be at Busch. Friday night's first pitch is at 7:15 p.m. For in-depth coverage of these stories and more, go to NewstalkSTL.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. 44 eastbound before Madison downtown, all lanes are back open from an earlier crash. No delays in that area. 270 northbound from 55 to McDonald. Traffic's running about 20 minutes. In Illinois, 270 westbound from 5570 to McDonald. You're looking at a 23-minute commute. There is construction work as you approach 170. 40 from downtown to 270. Traffic's running 13 minutes. And from 270 to the Boone Bridge, it's an additional 11 minutes. Thinking about an appliance purchase or having something installed like flooring, kitchen, or bath? You can count on Lowe's for credit options. See the store nearest you or go to Lowe's.com for details on the latest credit offers going on now. I'm Kat from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
I'm News 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton with your first alert forecast. Another chilly night tonight, low down to 46, and then a little bit warmer in the afternoon, 70 for the high. Still below the normal 76, but sunny skies and turning a touch more mild Thursday. That's the trend. Friday, a little more mild. Still cool in the morning at 48, but a high of 73 Friday and sunny skies. That's the latest first alert forecast. I'm News 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
Hi, I'm Jen Wallner.
And I'm Rodney Wallner with the Wallner Home Selling Team at Berkshire Hathaway.
Hey,
Hey, Rodney, how do you sell your home for top dollar?
That's easy. Call the Walner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
What if I want a flexible commission rate?
Call the Walner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
When's the best time to sell your home?
Right now, call the Walner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
For all your real estate needs, call the Walner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
That's 314-810-SOLD.
Stay top of mind with your customers, stand out from the competition, and drive productivity with a podcast for your business from Epic STL Podcasts. Log on to NewstalkSTL.com and click on the Epic STL Podcast button to learn more.
Get ready, because here they come.
1, 2, 3, 4.
It's Beatlemania all over again with the Fab Four, the ultimate tribute to the Beatles. Entertainment Tonight says seeing the Fab Four is just like seeing the Beatles.
Hey Jude.
The Fab Four takes you through the 60s with the music that changed our lives. It's a show you won't want to miss.
Saturday, October 1st at the Family Arena. Tickets on sale now at the Carroll House box office located at the Family Arena or at Ticketmaster.
It's the Sail On Tour 2022, starring Orleans, Pablo Cruz, Firefall,
You are the woman that I've always dreamed of.
Peter Beckett, the voice of Player, and Walter Egan with Sail On 2022, Saturday, October 15th at the Family Arena. Tickets available at the Carroll House box office located at the Family Arena or at Ticketmaster.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
It's Thursday, and at 4:25, we'll talk to Heritage Foundation's Jim Carafano, and at 5:25, State Senate candidate Dr. George Haruzo.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 3:30 on News Talk STL. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and NewstalkSTL.com.
Yesterday, a federal lawsuit was filed against the Biden administration's student loan forgiveness plan, and that was filed by the Pacific Legal Foundation. And at 7:05 today, we're going to hear from Pacific Legal's Allison Soman on why they decided to challenge that student loan forgiveness plan, why they think they can win, and basically the constitutional and legal parameters of that. So that comes your way at 7:05. I'm Mike Ferguson. It is 6:37 with Gabe Pfeiffer and Ken Williams. And looks like the federal government is going to keep operating for good, bad, or otherwise for at least another 5-6 weeks or so. And I'm joined now by Phil Kerpen from American Commitment. Phil, this isn't an actual budget. We don't bother with those in the federal government anymore. This is just another very short-term thing. What do you make of the deal that was made to keep the lights on past Election Day?
Well, I'm a little bit concerned about it, Mike, because this means that the next time government funding expires is in December. And that means that if we do have a big Republican year, that Democrats are going to have a last hurrah, and they're going to be able to use, hey, don't you want to get out of here before Christmas, as the leverage to pass, another giant, massive, obnoxious year-end spending and maybe even taxing and regulating monstrosity. So I really would have preferred that they run this, to February or something like that. So, if you're going to punt, at least punt it to the new Congress. So it's not the greatest. It could have been worse. There was a very twisted, destructive version of permitting reform that Joe Manchin was pushing that failed and was taken out, and Republicans say, oh, great, now it's clean. Like that means it's a wonderful thing, but I do worry about that effective date.
Good morning, Phil. Gabe Pfeiffer here. Is there anything good in this bill? I mean, is there anything that we can look and say, okay, I agree with this particular provision or a change or what have you?
There's another big pot of Ukraine money, depending on your perspective on foreign policy. That might be good or bad. But other than that, this is basically an extension of government spending, as it has been for this year. And so, you could say, oh, great, it's clean. They didn't add a bunch of extraneous stuff. But on the other hand, that means we didn't we didn't see Republicans pick any policy fights. They didn't say, the president admitted the pandemic's over, so let's, force him to end all of his mandates and so forth. They didn't say, the president is swindling $500 billion for a student loan bailout without our approval. We're going to go to the mat on language blocking that. So it's not so much that there's bad stuff in here other than, as I said, the date only being in December, but it's that this, if they wanted to, this was an opportunity for Republicans to pick a fight, and they didn't do that.
Good morning, Phil. This is Ken Williams. We routinely see when this happens at the end that the Democrats start screaming that we can't shut down. If we shut down, it's going to destroy the country. What is, honestly, in this scenario of a shutdown, what is the honest thing that would really happen that would affect negatively on the American people? And I'm talking about a protracted shutdown, say, through into February.
What tends to happen, not a lot actually. The most important things are set on autopilot. So, the military functions as usual, Social Security checks go out. What does happen in the shutdown is typically things like the national parks close and museums close, and the media uses that as a club to beat Republicans over the head. And I think the reason that Republicans are hesitant to pick policy fights around government funding bills is they've learned that they get blamed no matter what. So Democrat president, Republicans get blamed. Republican president, Republicans get blamed. And I think especially after, what happened when Ted Cruz tried to use government funding to go after Obamacare, and it was sort of a political disaster for him, I just think there's no appetite to use that leverage. But it's not a catastrophe. The world doesn't end if the government shuts down. And ultimately, if Congress is going to take itself seriously and be what it's supposed to be, which is the branch with the power of the purse, then they can't just become a rubber stamp for funding all of the president's priorities, whatever those might be. They've got to be willing to say we're only funding this and not that. And the best way to do it, to the point you were making, Mike, is do your work on time. Do a real budget, then do real appropriations bills, and specifically fund all of the individual things you want to fund, and don't fund the things you don't want to fund. And then you won't have this, this question of what are they going to add, what are going to be, when they do these funding bills. But failing that, I think they should pick a fight once in a while. Pick an issue that you're ready to make the case to the American public on. And if it takes a shutdown to do it, don't be totally afraid of it. Just explain to people what it means. And I would also like to see, Congress could pass a bill, and this has been proposed in the past. They could pass a bill that says when there's an appropriations lapse, you don't have a shutdown. Instead, you have an automatic spending cut. Let's say every agency continues, with the 10% less than they had the year before. And then Republicans would have real power, because that's apocalypse for Democrats, but for everyone else, it's a good thing.
The voice you're hearing is Phil Kerpen from American Commitment. Phil, let me follow up on that right there. I don't know how long it's been since there was an actual fiscal year, full-on budget. I mean, the way that any business would do, the way that any nonprofit would do, the way that any church would do, to say this is our plan for the year. Is there an aspect of instability when we're operating a multi-trillion-dollar organization like the federal government on a 4 to 6 to 8 to 12-week process constantly with continuing resolutions? I mean, is there something bigger than just what's funded or what's not right now?
Yeah, I think it's one of the reasons the federal government is so massively wasteful of money and so kind of incompetent. Part of it is the nature of the beast, but part of it is, they don't have competent planning horizons. They don't have, budgets that make sense. And because of the way that, Congress has this budget process, and I don't know, to answer your question, I don't know the last time they actually, did a budget resolution, then they followed those levels up with individual appropriations bills and funded everything, in a normal process. It's been, it's been decades, to be honest. And you're absolutely right. That's a big part of why the federal government is so inefficient, so poorly run. There's so much waste, fraud, and abuse. There's so little accountability because, we have these processes that exist on paper, but we don't follow them. We don't use them.
Now, those processes, at what level are they enforceable, if at all? And is there something that we can put in place maybe to force Congress to actually do their dang job?
Well, I'm a big fan of the no budget, no pay concept, which has been enacted a couple times, but every time it's been enacted, it's been like a temporary 1 year thing, and then it's gone again. So I think they should have to do their job to get paid with help with some of them, although frankly, so many of them are rich, I'm not sure that would really be the solution overall. But, I would like to see us have, some real enforcement. And, there's actually going to be a test of this at the end of this year, because there is a law called the Pay-As-You-Go Act. And when Congress increases spending in a given year, and obviously they've done that massively this year, there are automatic cuts at the end of the year called sequestration cuts that take place, and they waive it every single year so that it won't take effect. And what they do is they say, oh, no, if we don't waive this, then Medicare benefits are going to be cut. It's going to be a disaster. We can't allow this to take effect. And, what Republicans ought to do is they ought to say, we don't want Medicare cuts, but we're going to cut these other things, and they should have a package they put up when they have this lame duck session in December, and they should tell Democrats, look, if you want to cut something else other than the automatic cuts, great, put together your own package of things that we should cut, but we're not going to vote to waive the pay-as-you-go rule at the end of the year. And we need to start using some of these triggers that actually exist and not just waiving them on a regular basis if we're going to get any kind of handle on government spending.
Yeah, I know there's a little bit of back and forth between the House and the Senate, Phil, but it appears that this is going to get smoothed over. They're going to get it passed and signed into law by the end of Friday, by the deadline. And if something changes, I'll probably be calling you back and getting you back on the show on this. But Phil Kerpen, American Commitment, where do we find you online?
AmericanCommitment.org is the website. I'm also on Twitter. It's my last name, Kerpen, Kerpen.
All right, Phil, good talk to you again. Appreciate the update.
All right, have a good one.
Can you imagine trying to run any sort of organization without an annual budget?
And them waiving the annual regulations, the
pay-as-you-go.
The pay-as-you-go thing, that sounds so swampy.
Yeah.
It's so swampy.
I was on a board of aldermen once, and the biggest job we had was coming up with an annual budget. It took up so much work just for a city. And the federal government thinks it's going to run smoothly by just going weeks here, 4-6 weeks here, a few months here, then we'll do it again. It's just insane. It's absolutely insane, and it is a dereliction of duty by both parties.
And he mentioned that they could have done it into February, but the whole thing about them doing it to December is so strategic for the Democrats. It really aggravates me.
Oh, yeah. Once he mentioned that, you don't want to be here for Christmas. I remember them doing that.
Yeah.
Many years.
Do it every year. They do it every year.
There it is.
Yeah. And once everything falls apart because there's no actual budget and somebody filibusters in the Senate, then look at this. You elected Republicans, and look what happened.
They're so grinchy.
Yeah. All right. 314-912-1019. Another record in baseball could be set this week. Is it time to kind of forget those guys like Bonds and Sosa and, dare I say it, McGuire? Ooh, we'll talk about that at 6:50 on 1019-94.1 News Talk STL. Don't throw stuff at me.
For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on Newstalk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. 55 northbound slow traffic, Butler Hill Road and 270. And again from Weber Road to Germania. That is for construction work that has the roadway reduced to 2 lanes. Traffic is running about 24 minutes 270 northbound from 55 to McDonald. In Illinois, 270 westbound from 5570 to McDonald. Traffic's running about 24 minutes. Thinking about an appliance purchase or having something installed like flooring, kitchen, or bath? You can count on Lowe's for credit options. See the store nearest you or go to Lowes.com for details on the latest credit offers going on now. I'm Kat from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
Free speech is alive and well in America.
Sometimes it's hard to know what's real and what isn't.
Right here.
The country is heading in the wrong direction under this president. We're suffering shortages. America's running out of everything.
News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion.
Columbo here for Agers Heating and Air Conditioning. We trust Agers with our home because their number one priority is doing right by the customer. Temperatures are changing outside, and as we transition from warmer temps to cooler ones, if you have any issues keeping your family comfortable, don't wait. Call the great team at Agers so they can address the issue before it gets worse. Because whether it's repairs or replacement, Agers is there with the clarity and attention to detail your home deserves. Contact Agers now at 636-242-6515 or through their website, callagers.com.
In times of economic uncertainty and chaos, your money means nothing. You may not even be able to get it from your bank or ATM. And the money you do have in the stock market will go down and down. What you can bank on is gold and silver. Gold and silver have been a reliable and trusted form of currency for thousands of years. Gold and silver have never been worth zero, and typically gold holds its value during economic turmoil. Call the Gold Hotline now and learn how to protect your money and your assets with gold and silver. And learn how to set up a new IRA or roll over your current one into a gold-backed IRA. Protect your money from the next market crash with gold and silver. Call now for your free gold guide.
800-281-4224. 800-281-4224. 800-281-4224. That's 800-281-4224.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
We need change in our country right now.
Live and local.
They clubbed us over the head for 2 years.
Yep. You want corruption? This is how we get corruption.
This is News Talk STL. This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the Morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
Okay, I get it. We're not in American League City, all right? But I'm saying this is relevant to St. Louis, so hang with me for just a second here. It is 6:51. I'm Mike Ferguson. Got Gabe Pfeiffer here and Ken Williams here. Two of the three of us are baseball geeks. The other is just kind of a geek. Fair enough to say?
Fair.
Okay, there we go.
Kind of a geek.
Okay, so
acceptable.
Last night, Aaron Judge from the New York Yankees, he tied the American League single-season home run record. Now, this isn't just about baseball and home runs. It's a lot of it. I think that we've actually got kind of a sense of justice, and I'm going to put it out there. And I know somebody gets mad at me when I say this because people have gotten mad at me when I've said this before. Is that Mark McGwire is in the conversation about single-season home run accomplishments. And it just seems to me that even in St. Louis, we're going, yeah, we're really not talking about that anymore, even though it filled Busch Stadium to the brim for, most of a season while that home run race was happening. But Yankees,
well, they renamed a whole section for
that's right.
Big Mac Land.
Big Mac Land, yeah. Yankees outfielder Aaron Judge puts his name in the record books. Last night, Fox News' Eric Messersmith has the story.
Judge had been stuck on 60 homers for over a week, but he made history in Toronto.
And the 3-2. Drilled deep to left field. This could be it. See ya. He's done it. Number 61. He's been chasing history, and now he makes it. He and Roger Maris are tied with 61 home runs, the most anybody has ever hit in a single season in American League history.
That's how it sounded on Yes Network. The homer coming off of Blue Jays reliever Tim Meza. The Yankees won the game 8-3. New York will have Thursday off before returning home for a weekend series against the Orioles starting Friday, giving Judge a chance to set the record in Yankee Stadium. I'm Eric Messersmith, Fox News.
Roger Maris Jr. is going to every Yankees game right now in hopes of being there if and when Aaron Judge breaks that record and breaks his dad's record. And Roger Maris Jr. said something interesting this week. He said if Aaron Judge breaks that record, that he, Roger Maris Jr., will look at Aaron Judge as the legitimate, true single-season home run champion.
Nice.
And I agree.
I agree with that. Yeah.
And you may say, but wait a minute, haven't people hit more home runs in a single season? Well, yeah, but none of them in the American League. And in the National League, the only people who have hit more home runs in a single season are Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, and Sammy Sosa. And so it was really kind of a slap at Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa.
Absolutely.
And I actually think it was deserved. It's what we openly call the steroid era now. So St. Louis, I ask, have we just simply moved on from Mark McGwire and admitted that whole thing, as exciting as it was at the time, isn't really legitimate when we're looking back?
I think after the excitement, that initial excitement had died down, I think in a lot of ways, St. Louis got quiet about McGwire.
Very much so.
We named things, and we had all that whole rigmarole, and there was a little bit of that kind of was left over afterwards. But then I did not hear his name come up in baseball conversation almost ever after that.
I like some new things about baseball, but I'm a baseball purist.
Mm-hmm.
I like small ball. Mm-hmm. I like the training of all that, and I especially like the natural abilities of people. And when that whole thing with steroids came about, it really hurt my feelings, I guess, as a person who loves baseball, because they were saying, okay, well, we have this advantage. I mean, you see some of these guys on steroids, they don't even look human.
Barry Bonds' head got bigger.
Mark McGwire, did you see him in his early days versus later? And I would see this and people would say, come on, the guy, look at him. I'm like, yeah, I see it. So as far as I'm concerned, as being a baseball person, I just don't think that I don't like the idea of steroids, and I think that there should be an asterisk, a steroid-driven laden asterisk on their names.
So 1998, somebody said Big Mac in St. Louis. You thought Mark McGwire.
Yeah.
You hear Big Mac right now. What do you think of?
McDonald's.
I think of the sandwich.
yeah.
Even Big Mac land up there. It's stuck. But at a lot of point, you're kind of thinking. I'm thinking of the sandwich. Oh yeah. Name that for Mark McGwire. And then when you look at Mark McGwire, like when he was testifying in Congress when they were trying to investigate the whole steroid thing, as though that's Congress's purview, but whatever. He was even scrawny again.
Yeah.
But when he first came up, Mark McGwire came up with the Oakland Athletics. It was him and Jose Canseco. And Jose Canseco was built like a linebacker. He was always a big, strong guy. McGwire, was a big guy, but he was tall and scrawny and
thin.
Very thin. And, the steroid era happened. Sammy Sosa, who's a weirdo to start with. Dude, man, that guy is weird.
Yeah.
Oh, you think?
Oh, my goodness. Look up Sammy Sosa today and tell me what you find. He is weird. And Barry Bonds, of course, has just kind of left the public eye because I don't know that anybody actually looks at that accomplishment in that home run race in the late 90s as something that's legitimate. That was a source of pride here in St. Louis for so long. But St. Louis, to me, is such a baseball town. It is such a part of our culture that once we've reflected on it, even collectively, that we kind of go back and say, yeah, that really wasn't the accomplishment. We really don't have as much to be proud of. If Aaron Judge hits number 62, I think he should be looked at as truly having the best season for home runs in all of baseball, National League or American League. Better than Mark McGwire when he hit 70. Better than Sammy Sosa when he hit 66. Definitely better than Barry Bonds when he hit 73. I think Aaron Judge should be looked at rightfully as the having the best year.
And being a St. Louis baseball fan, I think that's a fair assessment from you.
Yeah,
I really do.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I'm just hitting stuff with my coffee mug.
Well, it's that whole.
It's on the left side of my face, and so sorry about that. I literally, it was on the left side of my face. All right, just ahead here. We talked about this quite a bit yesterday. We actually got a lot of comments on social media and phone calls because there were some people saying, "Wait a minute, you guys are being hypocrites," and I'll be the first one to say I am. I'm a hypocrite on it because it's bad policy to forgive all the student loans and $20,000. But if they do it, and I have to fill out a form to do it, I'll do it and wish that if the program wasn't there. Pacific Legal Foundation filed a federal lawsuit to stop this from happening. They did that yesterday, made national news. White House was talking about it. We've got one of their senior legal fellows on this show at 7:05, just ahead, right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
If you are on Medicare, you need to listen to this message. Open enrollment for all Medicare participants starts October 15th. This is a very critical time of the year for you to make needed changes to your plan.
This is Mike Butts with MB Health Insurance Agency. Regardless if you are new or renewing your health insurance, the process can be confusing and very time-consuming. MB Health is local here in St. Louis, and we will handle your enrollment quickly, properly, and effectively. Find us on the web at mbhealth.com.
MB Health can also help small businesses find the perfect medical coverage for their employees. That's mbhealth.com.
Life insurance is one of those things that just about everybody needs, but few people actually have. Hey, if you die unexpectedly without life insurance, guess what? You'll leave your family with even a bigger mess. Life insurance will help replace your family's income. It'll help cover burial expenses. Life insurance can even help pay off debt like credit cards and medical bills. Life insurance can even pay for college. And if you own a business and you die, life insurance can help your business from collapsing. It can even help cover estate taxes. Life insurance has never been more affordable and needed. Plus, you can always shop around even if you have a plan and save some money. So call the Life Insurance Quote Line right now for free pricing information.
800-979-3060. 800-979-3060. 800-979-3060. That's 800-979-3060.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at
NewstalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. This morning, sunrise shedding light on the scale of destruction wrought by Hurricane Ian in Florida. Flooding is widespread. Many homes are gone. More than 2 million utility customers without power. Southwest Florida is where Ian came ashore as a Category 4 hurricane before moving inland, hammering central and eastern Florida, including Orlando and Jacksonville.
Ian is now a tropical storm. It has maximum sustained winds of 65 miles per hour. After it's been moving across the Florida Peninsula, the winds have come down a bit.
Robbie Berg of the National Hurricane Center says that doesn't mean Ian is any less of a danger, because there will continue to be rainfall and the risk of floods in Florida, Georgia, and the low country of South Carolina. Berg says there's also a chance that Ian could become a hurricane once again. I'm Donna Water.
And this morning, an army of utility workers waiting for conditions to improve so electricity can be restored. Also standing by, high water rescue crews and other emergency personnel. Well, some GOP lawmakers have a different idea for all of that money that's been set aside to hire tens of thousands of new IRS employees.
House Republicans, led by New York Representative Claudia Tenney, introduced legislation to redirect IRS funds to U.S. Customs and Border Protection. This as the border crisis worsens. According to the Daily Caller, the legislation would rescind the funds under the Inflation Reduction Act that the Biden administration intended to use for the hiring of 87,000 new IRS agents. The legislation would instead direct the money to hire additional agents to secure the southern border. Tasha Stevens reports.
Well, following yesterday's big rally, a pullback may be on the way today for Wall Street. Stock futures are lower. The Dow futures down 179 points. NASDAQ futures off 126. More on these stories at townhall.com.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance. For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-940-6161. That's 1-800-940-6161. Or go to SelectQuote.com. That's 1-800-940-6161. SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. There's a report of an accident 67 northbound at 55, 55 northbound slow between Butler Hill Road and 270, and slowing again from Weber Road to Gasconade. This is for construction work that has the roadway reduced to 2 lanes. 270 northbound heavy traffic between 55 and Gravois, and slow between Doherty Ferry and Manchester. Westbound heading into downtown from Illinois, slowing as you approach the Poplar Street Bridge coverage. The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation has been at the forefront of the inflammatory bowel disease research and care for over 50 years. Learn more about research, education, and support at Crohn'sColitisFoundation.org. I'm Kat from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
Our beautiful pattern continues. Yesterday's high was 67 in St. Louis. Today, we're going to climb up to about 70 degrees, so a little bit of a warm-up after a chilly start, but lots of sunshine, very little cloud cover, light winds from the east. Lows tonight in the 40s, the high tomorrow about 73, continued sunshine on Friday and right through the weekend. I'm KMOB First Alert meteorologist Kent Gerhardt.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by All Solutions Pest Control, 636-486-7888, or visit them at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
Do you have a property that is more hassle than is worth? Hi, this is David with House Sold Easy, and I buy houses cash. If you own a property and want to sell it fast at a fair price, call me at 314-293-3000. Do you own an ugly property, a behind on mortgage payment property, a lazy tenant that won't pay rent property, a too much junk and clutter property, or even a, hey, I'm curious about a fair cash offer property? Well, don't worry. I buy them all, and I want to make you a fair cash offer. Call me at 314-293-3000.
Hey, Columbo here, and many of you know that one of my favorite things to do when I have some free time is to get out on the water and go fishing. And the folks at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton are the people you should see before your next fishing trip. No matter what you're fishing for, they have everything you need, from gear to lures to live bait. Plus, they can even set you up on a guided fishing tour on the Mississippi River. Make sure the tackle box is ready for your next trip by visiting Bluff City Outdoors at 2813 East Broadway in Alton and BluffCityOutdoors.com.
This is News Talk STL.
News, analysis, and opinion from the voices you know and trust.
News Talk STL at 1019, 941, and NewsTalkSTL.com.
'Cause you know.
Mike Ferguson.
You play ball like a girl!
Gabe Pfeiffer.
I triple dog dare ya!
Get up! Can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice, drain the swamp, and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up! This is your cousin
The big news happened yesterday. There is now a lawsuit filed against the Biden administration's plan to forgive between 400 and some estimates even 500 billion with a B dollars in student loan debt across the country. Why would somebody file that lawsuit? Because there are a lot of people saying, hey, that's as good as free money to me. Well, we're about to find out. I'm Mike Ferguson. I'm joined now by Allison Soman. She's with the Pacific Legal Foundation, where she is the legal fellow at their Center for Separation of Powers. And Allison, thank you very much for being on the program. I suspect you're probably getting plenty of kudos from the conservative and libertarian spheres, and probably a little bit of hate mail in the process as well. So why did Pacific Legal decide to go ahead and take the lead and file this federal lawsuit, in this case in Indiana?
Thank you. So this is a really important case, will affect a lot of people. For us, this isn't about what the best policy on debt relief should be. There are a lot of different opinions in the world. For us, it's a case about who decides what the policy should be. Is this something that should be settled by Congress based on the input of the American people, who can then vote members of Congress in or out based on what they think the policy should be? Or is this something that the president, as one man, can decide by executive order? We think it should be the first of this two. Student loan debate is a big problem. Big question how debt should be handled, and therefore this is something to which Congress should speak directly. This isn't something the president or the executive branch gets to decide by itself. And so we're suing because we believe that the separation of powers protects individual liberty. And if the president steps out of line, if the president steps out of his proper constitutional role, that separation of powers is threatened, and so is individual liberty.
So there's a lot of people, like I just mentioned, who got the news that $10,000 to $20,000 of their student loan gone like that. They're probably very excited, and they say, why get into all this wonkiness stuff? What is it? Which part of the Constitution is it that is more important than this immediate partial debt relief for people? And why is that so important?
So, the government of the United States under our Constitution is a government of limited and enumerated powers. It's the president's job to enforce the law, and it's Congress's job to pass the laws. Now, Congress in 2003 passed a law called the HEROES Act that was supposed to have the limited purpose of helping out with student debt a small class of people who were involved in the Iraq War. This was supposed to be a very limited solution to a very small problem. President Biden wants to take that limited law and create out of it this big program that would reach much more broadly beyond all veterans and forgive essentially a piece of the debt of everybody who's taken on some student loan debt whose income is below a certain level. We think that this is the kind of problem that should be solved by Congress. If Congress thinks broader debt forgiveness is an idea, Congress has to speak to that directly. It's wrong for the president to take this old 2003 law and try to refurbish it and put it toward another purpose other than the one that's intended for.
So just to be clear, your lawsuit isn't arguing that the idea of forgiving student loan debt is good, bad, indifferent, or other. You're saying that the process being used is outside of the constitutional bounds. Am I hearing you correctly?
That is 100% correct. Our lawsuit's not about whether debt forgiveness is a good idea, bad idea, or somewhere in between. It's about, can the president unilaterally decide to just forgive debts without the clear statement of Congress? And we think that this executive order was really thrown together to make the president more politically popular, the president stretching this 2003 law beyond a purpose that it was never meant to have. We think that's wrong. And if the president's allowed to do this, who knows what the president's going to try to do next. In any case, we're a government of enumerated and limited powers, and we think this is just too big a power grab for any president to be allowed to get away with for any cause.
So if Congress had passed this plan into law and it's signed by the president, then do we not have an issue, or is it just because the president used executive order to implement it?
So there would be threshold issues with, obviously, Congress can only legislate to serve certain ends, but assuming that law was used, Congress was using a constitutional power and legislating toward a constitutional end, that would be okay. And again, that would be a very different case than what's happened here.
Is there anything particularly special about the Southern Indiana federal court that was picked for this lawsuit that you all filed?
As far as I know, no, only that Mr. Garrison lives there. What is special, not about the particular federal court, but about Mr. Garrison's circumstances, I should probably just call him Frank because he's actually something of a friend of mine. We've worked together on different legal projects. There are, I believe it's 7 different states that tax the proceeds of loan forgiveness. The idea being that if you have a debt and then someone forgives that debt, that's like you just earned some money, and that should be therefore added to your income that you're taxed on by the state. Makes sense that Indiana would do this, makes sense that other states would as well. But this essentially puts Frank in an interesting situation because Frank works for a nonprofit. He's eligible eventually to have all of his law school debt forgiven. However, because the president went ahead and unilaterally forgave this piece of his debt, he gets stuck with a tax bill from Indiana that he didn't plan for and didn't want. So that gives him a legally cognizable injury that makes it possible for him to sue. Right after this plan was released, there was a lot of commentary by experts saying, well, this looks pretty blatantly illegal, but we're not sure if anybody has the kind of injury that would allow anyone to bring a challenge in court to this kind of blatant illegal executive action because of Frank's distinctive circumstance as a public interest attorney who lives in a state that has that looks like it'll tax the proceeds of his loan forgiveness. He's one of a small group of people who does have the kind of injury that would allow him to directly challenge the president's unconstitutional action.
Okay, the same day that your lawsuit was filed, was announced, Karina Jean-Pierre reacted to it in the press corps and saying, well, there are some people who just don't want the progressive left's policies to help working people. They're saying this is about politics, Allison.
So we are a nonprofit. We're not allowed to engage in politics directly. For us, our real purpose and our real goal here is to make sure that the president acts within the confines of his legal authority, because when the president goes beyond the confines of his authority, that can pose a threat to people, to people of all Americans, regardless of race, color, income, etc.
What's next? I mean, obviously, it's been filed. Is there a schedule for the case itself, initial hearings, anything like that?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay, Allison, talk to the people who got the news that some of their debt is going to be erased, and they're very excited. They hear this and they say, wait a minute, why should I be supportive when this is actually something that was going to help me in the immediate term?
So for us, the question isn't about whether debt forgiveness is good, bad, or indifferent. For us, the real issue here is, does the president have the power to do this by himself, or is this the kind of issue to which Congress really has to speak and then get the signature of the president? This is a big action for a president to take by himself without the approval of Congress. And you should care about whether there are limits on the power of the president, because it might be that next time the president uses that broad executive authority in ways you don't like, in ways that harm you. The power that gives to you this time can take away from you later. And so you should be very careful about rejoicing about the exercise of unlawful executive power.
All right, Allison Soman, Pacific Legal. How do people get in touch with you? Website, social media, any kind of information like that?
Sure. So the best way to get in touch with us is at pacificlegal.org. That's our website. We also have a Twitter account. I believe that the handle there is just Pacific Legal, and we're on Facebook as well. Just look up Pacific Legal Foundation.
All right, Allison, thanks so much for the time.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Okay, so you've gotten the news that some of your debt's going to be reduced if you've got a kid in college, or maybe it's your loans. Now you're hearing that a public interest law group, a conservative group like Pacific Legal, says we are challenging to stop that from happening. What's your take on that? Allison's right. We've talked about this over the course of the last week or so. This is the better policy. They're constitutionally correct, but man, it's awful tempting when you hear somebody say, I'm just going to wipe out a lot of your debt. What do you think? Let's talk about it. 314-912-1019. This is 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
You have a soul sewn up, it is no more. And all at once depart, no destination. Making cold my heart to fight your war.
For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com.
I see your indifference. Stop it right now before you blow us all away. Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up, this is your cousin car. Get up, what are you waiting for? Get up.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
Want to give me more information
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Unbound.org. 6455 westbound stop and go as you approach the Poplar Street Bridge. 55 northbound slowing between Butler Hill Road and 270. And again, from Weber Road to Gasconade, that's for construction work that has the roadway reduced to 2 lanes. 270 northbound slow from Big Bend to Manchester. 70 eastbound tapping the brakes between Bryan Road and Route K. And there's an accident 67 northbound in in Jefferson County at 55 that has the right lane blocked. Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice: continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org. I'm Kat from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
Since 2007, the state of Missouri and local governments have handed out almost $5 billion in tax subsidies or abatements to private developers. That money could have gone to basic services like schools and public safety. And studies show these subsidies don't produce the promised jobs and growth. If developers want to build a sports stadium or shopping mall, why should they be given our tax dollars to do it? It's time to reform economic development subsidies. The Show Me message has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Packages start at $29.99 a month with signed agreement. Restrictions apply. Speak to a representative for complete offer details. See Vivint.com for license details. Terms and conditions apply.
Homeowners, if you're looking for the best in home security and smart home technology at a price you can actually afford, we have great news. Now you can get Vivint's award-winning home security systems starting at about $1 a day. U.S. News and World Report has recognized Vivint as the best professionally installed home security system of 2022. And right now, you can get Vivint's home security technology for about $1 a day. Plus, get free professional installation from a licensed technician. Protect your home and loved ones for as low as $1 a day. Call right now for your free home security consultation.
800-561-3405. 800-561-3405. 800-561-3405. That's 800-561-3405.
Fox News commentary.
Our illustrious president once again made himself look like a bumbling idiot. The latest and greatest example is next.
With each mortgage-free home, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation delivers on its promise to do good and never forget the sacrifices of America's heroes. These heroes need your help. That's Gold Star and fallen first responder families with young children, our nation's most catastrophically injured first responders and veterans, and even our homeless service members. Help these heroes now. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. That's T, the number 2, T.org.
Joe couldn't get any more cringeworthy. Wednesday at the White House Conference on Hunger, Nutrition, and Health, he sought out and called out a deceased Indiana congresswoman for recognition. He repeatedly searched the crowd for Indiana Republican Representative Jackie Walorski, who died in a tragic car crash along with 2 of her staffers over the summer. Congresswoman Walorski was part of a bipartisan group of congressional leaders who advocated legislation pushing for the conference last year. You know, it was nice to see Joe reach across the aisle to give her credit and express gratitude, but he apparently wasn't familiar enough with her to remember she's no longer with us. Look, sometimes Joe makes an honest mistake. This was not that. This was on another level of cringe and embarrassment. You'd think his staff would brief him on something as significant as the death of the representative who pushed for the conference to take place in the first place, but clearly not. Can we all just admit that Joe Biden is cognitively unsound? With each passing day, it becomes more obvious. I'm Tommy Lahren.
What happens next?
Democrats' reckless policies have stuck the American people with an inflation crisis, a border crisis, a violent crime crisis, and an energy crisis.
Happens right here.
We're going to get control of inflation.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and newstalkstl.com.
Got a call from my old friend Frank Catanzaro yesterday. I say old. He's actually very, very young. He's part of the Young Republicans. And he said, hey, really appreciate News Talk STL, getting on board with the Freedom Fest barbecue and, telling people about it. There's kind of a buzz about it. They've got room. They've still got more room. So if you want to go, it's October 9th. I believe.
9th, yeah.
October 9th. Basically lunchtime on Sunday, October 9th from 11 to about 2 o'clock. So you can head out there at 11. You can head over there right after church, whatever works for you. Have some lunch there. Eric Schmidt is going to be there. Ann Wagner's going to be there. And Senator Jay Ashcroft's going to be there as well, and several state representative office holders and candidates going to be there. So go to newstalkstl.com or stlyrs.com to get more information about the Freedom Fest barbecue. It is a ticketed event because it is supporting the St. Louis County Young Republicans. Matter of fact, Frank's going to stop by tomorrow and kind of give us an update on that here in the studio as well. Frank and I used to work together over at another nonprofit, we're for profit, but we worked at a nonprofit organization as well. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And he's kind of put me on the spot. He's like, okay, you and Rachel are going, right? I'm like, well, I think so. I think, no, come on, you got to come out there. You know, Chris Arps and Tim Jones are co-emceeing the event. So we're going to have a big News Talk STL presence there.
Oh,
so,
Caddy and I are going for sure.
Yeah, I think Rachel's not back in town yet, but I'll have to see what the schedule looks like. But I think I can make it out there, but I should know by tomorrow.
My question is, who's going to be doing the queuing?
Who's going to be doing the what?
Barbecue.
The cooking.
Oh, I don't know. I have no idea.
It's going to have to be good. I mean, because you got,
absolutely
conservatives on our barbecue. You don't mess.
Because we'll call you out.
No, really.
Yeah. Okay. Real quick follow up here to that conversation you just heard with Allison from Pacific Legal, and I really appreciate them being on. I mean, literally, the White House was responding to them less than 24 hours ago, and I thought it was interesting when you look at the case that they've got, because in legal terms, in order to bring a lawsuit, you have to have somebody who says they were harmed by this policy. And for the most part, there were people who said, yeah, this probably isn't legal or maybe even constitutional. But if nobody's getting hurt other than inflation and everything, and that's a very broad, opaque kind of conceptual thing, you really don't have a case. But here you've got somebody who is working for a nonprofit group. Their student loans are eventually going to dissipate, and they're going to be forgiven just over the course of years because of the program. And because of the state he lives in, if there is $10,000 or $20,000 of student loans just eradicated, what happens then is that he gets taxed on that by the state of Indiana. So there's the harm. He's going to pay a tax penalty for this. Because of the program. So they found, they were looking for anybody to just file the lawsuit.
Right.
But this is what gives them some sort of standing to do this.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
Yeah.
And the reality is that even though, Pacific Legal is saying, listen, we're not taking a position on student loan forgiveness, and I believe them, this isn't about that. They are catching hell right now on their social media and their emails and their phones right now.
You would think so. Although I think if you remember, the initial reaction to the student loan program, student loan forgiveness program, wasn't as positive as the Biden administration was thinking too. So I imagine they may be getting a bit more support than you would expect, as well as the expected flag.
Right.
Well, the number that I remember is that 30% of Americans have gone to college. So 70% of the America probably doesn't agree with getting that.
Well, that's the thing, is it's a justice thing. And you've got people like me who paid off my student loans. Now I've got my daughters and the part that I'm responsible for. And you've got others who went, wait a minute, I learned to be an electrician. I went to learn to be a plumber. I did construction. I do just fine in life because, frankly, trades are where it's at right now.
Oh, my God. You know what truck drivers make these days?
Huge. Plumbing. These are high-skilled jobs. These are, if you got a kid's like, I don't know if I want to do college, show them a trade school, man. I'm telling you, they will be just fine without a bachelor's degree.
Yep.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
They make about as much or more than I do.
Yeah, they'll start making more than most of us.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, absolutely.
Some young guys or gals going to come out of, like, say, State Tech U or Rankin or one of those places, and they'll probably come right out making $60,000 a year.
Oh, easily.
Just with the trades, because that's where the demand is. It just has to be. So, yeah, a lot of people, I think it was just a justice issue. And I think you're right. The Biden administration figured we're just going to give away billions of dollars and everybody's going to love it because we're giving away. And the public was like, huh? But the most likely to vote Democrat got excited about it because they're getting stuff from other people.
Yeah, that's kind of how they work. It's like, hey, what are you going to do for me to get my vote? It's basically asking for a bribe, and the Democrats are more than happy to oblige.
Yep.
Here's what we always fall into, though. You've got the media that's on the left. They are clearly on the left, and when they promote something like this, it's automatic that we think, oh, everybody's going to love it then, because that's what they say.
Yeah.
But the same way with abortion. You've got a lot. they were saying, okay, this is going to be an explosion because you guys, the Supreme Court did it this way, and now your pro-abortionists are going to win. You've got a lot of people that are anti-abortion. You've got a lot of people pro-life that are against this whole thing too. I mean, it's the media spins a lot of this stuff.
Survey after survey shows a very slight majority of those who say they're pro-life are women in this country.
Yep.
Matter of fact, I finally saw a Treaty Bush Valentine ad on my computer yesterday. I was on a website. I saw it.
I think I saw one too. Yeah.
The whole thing was about abortion.
That's right.
I'm like, that's what you're running with, really?
Mm-hmm. Yes,
that's what you're running with. Is
it's a
abortion.
TV ad too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't. I haven't seen. It's probably the same ad.
Yeah, it's the shows a courtroom. It's like what happened here shouldn't dictate what happens in here, and shows a medical room or something like that.
Right.
She was calling out Eric Schmidt on that one. Yeah.
Okay,
And
have fun.
I'm sure that Eric Schmidt probably said thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So this is one where it may fire up a base in St. Louis City, and it may fire up a base in Maplewood, but they were going to vote for her anyway.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not converting anybody over. There's not a big gasp. Oh my goodness! Now there are pro-life. I mean, if you live in the St. Louis area and you really want to kill your baby, okay, so it's 3 miles over there.
Yeah.
You go over to Fairview Heights and you can butcher up a human being over there. It's illegal. That's the way it goes. They've even got big billboards welcoming you.
Yeah.
For that.
And getting back to the school loan thing, you got an ASC certified mechanic standing there, and he's making all kinds of money. He didn't go to college. He went to training.
Yep.
He did a lot of mentorship and all that stuff, but he didn't go to college, and he's not going to want to pay for a college student's loan. I've got
a friend who's an ASC certified master mechanic.
Oh, jeez.
He's making bank.
He's working with the nice cars.
Oh yeah, and he's far more valuable to society than the one who got a degree in gender studies.
And that's one of the things I wanted to bring up too, is that we're talking about the people who run the infrastructure of the world.
Yeah,
the plumbers, the electricians, the HVAC specialists,
farmers.
They're the farmers. They're the ones who keep all of this going. I mean, a lot of the rest of us, we're kind of living in the luxury version of the world that they built and that they maintain. So when we're trying to put more impediments to them and their success, while trying to fund, that gender studies degree having a shirt folder at the Gap, I don't think it's going to work out well for you electorally.
No,
yeah, but that's what they're banking on. They want it.
The media's helping them.
Yeah, they want to look at everything except what's actually affecting people the most right now.
Yeah. All
right, just ahead, Missouri lawmakers they were charged with let's get a tax cut done and a bunch of subsidies for agriculture stuff. And this is turning into just a mess. I mean, are we having a debacle in Jefferson City over something that should be pretty clear? Cut taxes. Everybody's on board. It's an election year. Well, State Senator Bob Anders got an update for us right around 7:35 here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. Follow us on Getter at NewstalkSTL. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson in the morning. No big old corporate lib AM station telling us what to say here. Conservative talk for St. Louis. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
From the News Talk STL newsroom, I'm Joey Vasovich. The U.S. Department of Justice has filed a discrimination lawsuit against an apartment complex in South St. Louis County. The DOJ has determined Bridgewater Residences, apartments, owners, developers, and builders violated the Fair Housing Act and Americans with Disabilities Act. Construction has started on the second phase of The District, an experiential shopping and entertainment redevelopment in Chesterfield. The $4 million outdoor event and gathering space will feature a pavilion, LED screen and stage, and the venue's turf viewing field will be surrounded by sit-down restaurants with patios, a brewery, social hall, and beer garden. 3 months after becoming the first St. Louis area store to unionize, workers at the Ledouche Starbucks held a one-day strike on Saturday. Employees told the RFT that they have seen their hours drop as a result of their unionization efforts. The shortened shifts have led to fewer workers on the floor, causing longer wait times for customers and overwhelmed workers. And in sports and preseason hockey, the Blues welcome the Blue Jackets to Enterprise tonight. Puck drop is at 7 p.m. And the Cardinals lost to the Brewers 5-1 in Milwaukee last night. Manager Ali Marmol said he's trying to balance giving his regulars the rest they need for the postseason and his hatred for losing during the regular season. Next up, the Redbirds wrap up the regular season with 6 games against the Pirates. The first 3 games will be played at Busch. Friday night's first pitch is at 7:15 p.m. For in-depth coverage of these stories and more, go to NewstalkSTL.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Discover. 170 southbound stop and go traffic between the Parkway and 40. 270 northbound slow between 55 and Gravois and again from Big Bend to Manchester. 6455 westbound heading into downtown approaching the Poplar Street Bridge is slow. 4064 eastbound slowing between Olive and Maryville Center. 270 to Spady and again 170 to Bellevue. 70 eastbound slow Bryan Road to TR Hughes and 270 to Limburg. They could talk about how complicated other banks make it to redeem credit card rewards. Or they could talk about how with Discover you can redeem your rewards for cash in any amount at any time. Talk about amazing. Learn more at discover.com/redeem rewards. Terms apply. I'm Kat from the Newstalk STL Traffic Center.
From the Newstalk STL Weather Center.
Our beautiful pattern continues. Yesterday's high was 67 in St. Louis. Today, we're going to climb up to about 70 degrees, so a little bit of a warm-up after a chilly start, but lots of sunshine, very little cloud cover, light winds from the east. Lows tonight in the 40s, the high tomorrow about 73, continued sunshine on Friday and right through the weekend. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
Michael's Flooring Outlet is a locally owned and operated family business for more than 28 years, featuring exclusive products, unbeatable prices, and expert installation. You can choose from a wide variety of flooring options, including carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, luxury vinyl, natural stone, plus many other options. And you'll gain a peace of mind knowing that your flooring and carpet installation will be done right the first time when you hire the experts at Michael's. You can shop in-store at one of their 3 convenient locations or shop from home online. Check out everything Michael's Flooring has to offer at igotfloored.com.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Good morning, Karen Cataline. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Vic Porcelli.
One more thing about the raid, and then we'll move on. They said that Biden did not know about the raid. Wait a minute, you two. Stop it, both of you. He didn't know about the raid. That doesn't mean they didn't tell him about the raid. He just forgot. He forgot. There you go.
Vic Porcelli, weekday mornings at 9 on Newstalk STL.
Are you downright disgusted with the corruption of our Democratic leadership at St. Louis City Hall that's been reported in the news?
Hi, this is Mary Teresa McLean, chair of the Republican Party City of St. Louis. If you want to put our city that we all love back on track, you must get involved. If you're ready to be part of the solution, we invite you. Come and meet us. Learn more at stlouisrepublicans.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
Hey, Tony Colombo here for the great team at All Solutions Pest Control. All Solutions is the pest control company Christine and I trust with our home because they don't cut corners and they take the time and use the best products available to help protect your home at the highest level possible. Call All Solutions Pest Control today at 636-486-7888 and learn more about our special $67 introductory offer or visit us online at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
I think they're trying to attack the American people.
Live and local.
Gabe, Mike, Ken, you guys are my morning cup of mental coffee. I love the show. Definitely a convert from the old one.
This is News Talk STL. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
The drama continues in the state capitol. Can I say drama?
Yeah, you can say drama.
It's, a bunch of politicians arguing over stuff. But they shouldn't be arguing over a lot of it because they were called back to Jefferson City specifically to give Missourians a tax cut. And so now it's become a thing where the Senate passes a watered-down version. It goes to the House of Representatives, but reporting is that like changes are being made on committees to make sure a bill gets through. It's just turning into something that's kind of hard to track on a day-to-day basis. And we're joined now by State Senator Bob Onder. Okay, so at this point, if you had to do a multiple choice and say that this session so far is A, a success, B, treading water, C, a mess, or D, a debacle, where are you on that scale at the moment?
I guess compared, thank you for having me on. I guess compared to some of the proposals made by some of the, rhinos in the Senate caucus, I would say I would give this treading water, perhaps. It's not a debacle. It's not a disaster. Both chambers of the legislature, the Senate and the House, are showing interest in cutting taxes. I think the word watered down is an accurate description as well. Basically the governor called us into special session to cut taxes from 5.3% to 4.8%. This is, of course, the personal income tax. At a time when Missourians are really suffering under the weight of, a high tax burden, but also 8.3% inflation induced by the Biden administration's inflationary spending, as well as really decades of overspending by the federal government. So it's time we return more of people's tax money, the money that they worked so hard for. We return it to its rightful owners. Why it's been so hard, I'm not sure. But yeah, there were changes made in the House committee to the bill yesterday. Not all of them bad, but I think at least both chambers of the legislature express interest in cutting taxes.
Good morning, Bob. Gabe Pfeiffer here. So does the deal currently stand? Is there anything on the table right now that's being debated, and where's the level being has the level been set?
Yeah. So the Senate passed a bill that would not immediately cut us from 5.3 to 4.8. It would go 5.3 to 4.95, and then provided some revenue triggers getting that this year down to 4.8%. We should probably meet those triggers, although we are in a recession already. Two quarters of negative economic growth, and it's probably going to get worse before it gets better. The good news about that particular bill is then it includes additional triggers, bringing us eventually down to 4.5. Again, I would like to see our state income tax at 0. So this is a very incremental reform. The House yesterday in committee, the House Budget Committee, added a corporate income tax cut to this as well, which I do not oppose. I think that's good. Corporations really don't pay taxes; they pass their taxes on to consumers in the form of higher prices, or to their employees in the form of lower wages. But it is a little bit outside the governor's call. It does make things a little more messy. But that's really where we stand right now. Also in committee, and this is to the Senate bill. They added a tax exemption for feminine hygiene products. Okay. But yeah, I think things are moving along. I suspect the House will pass a tax bill today, but we don't know which one it will be, whether it will be the modified Senate version or one of the three bills passed out of committee yesterday by Cody Smith, the House Budget Chair. So we'll see ongoing developments.
Good morning, Bob. This is Ken. How are you?
Hey, Ken. Morning.
Good morning. My question was actually going to be regarding the taxation of the corporations, but you answered that. But I had another question about the people who are more lukewarm about lowering taxes in the Republican Party. Are they feeling any heat from their area, their constituency?
Well, I sure hope so. Because those Republicans who have opposed tax cuts, and there are many of them, and they occupy powerful positions in the Missouri Senate, especially. In fact, the sponsor of the bill that the House considered yesterday the tax bill. Lincoln Huff out of Springfield, he has been an anti-tax cutter. He has killed multiple tax cut bills in committee, including my colleague Senator Eigel's bill to eliminate the personal property tax. So are they hearing from their constituents? I sure hope so, and I believe they are. But traditionally, they've listened to various government bureaucrats, their school superintendents, the teachers' unions, telling them that there will be a catastrophe if we cut taxes. There will be no revenue for roads and schools and so on. That is belied by the historical record. These interest groups, these government bureaucrats made the same predictions in 2014 when Senate Bill 509, the major tax cut bill, was passed. Back then, our revenues were $20 billion. Our budget was $20 billion. Today, it's $47 billion, larger than the state of Illinois, despite those 509 tax cuts having gradually brought us from 6 down to 5.3%. So, this prediction that tax cuts are catastrophic and they're bad and people will be dying in the streets have just not come to pass. The government has plenty of money. The government in Missouri is taking more of our money than it ever has in history, and it's time to give some of it back to the people.
And when you look at both the one-time wasteful spending money from the Biden administration and just the revenues that have come in, Bob, how much money is the state of Missouri sitting on that's not allocated right now, and how does that compare to the proposed tax cuts that are being discussed right now?
Yeah. So a lot has been made of the fact that, in fact, I'm looking at an article from the Missouri Independent right now, pointing out that the cost of the tax cut bill, has passed out of committee yesterday in the House is $2 billion, which is more than the $700 million originally sought by Governor Parson. But first of all, those numbers are spread out over multiple years. That's not all in one year. But again, let's take that $2 billion figure. Last fiscal year alone, Missouri had a $4.4 billion surplus. Between the wasteful spending of the Biden administration and a rebound from the government-induced COVID recession, we are taking in dramatically more money in the state of Missouri than we have in the past, and we're on track to take in enormous amounts of money this fiscal year, even though we're already in a recession. So it's time to give some of this money back to its rightful owners, the people of Missouri.
All right, State Senator Bob Onder, and I also noticed that all of the triggers and incentives, and I remember talking to Bill Eigel, years ago when that bill was first proposed, it still provides an incentive for government to collect more money before any tax cuts actually happen. So it's still a government first mindset, unfortunately.
Well, and it is the idea that we're putting triggers, in it all. I understand why they're doing it, but the other bill, of course, that's going through, the process right now are 11 new or renewed or extended tax credits. Several of which are green energy nonsense. Things like biodiesel and of course ethanol, which rots out our small engines if anyone tries to maintain a lawnmower like I do. This special interest in big government mindset is really sad in a legislature in which we allegedly have a supermajority of Republicans.
Yeah. All right, State Senator Bob Onder. Appreciate the update. I wish I could say, boy, look at this big Republican majority and Republican governor cutting our taxes like crazy. I mean, it's like a Halloween movie, slashing everywhere.
The way I look at it, we should be swinging for the fences right now, and instead we're going for a sacrifice bunt. But any move in the right direction of lower taxes, I will applaud and certainly vote for.
Amen, brother.
Even if it's a golf clap, just golf clap the small one. Wild applause for the big ones. All right, hey Bob, good talk to you again. Thanks so much for being on the program.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Yes, I mean that's how we should react once they do some tiny little measly
yes
tax cut. We're like, okay, golf clap.
Yeah.
if they had a real tax cut, we throw a party.
Oh, absolutely.
Man.
Exactly.
All right, just ahead here. This is actually a holiday, guys, and we celebrate it. We're celebrating it right now, even if you don't know it.
Really?
I'm going to tell you all about it at 7:51 on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL.
For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Compassion International. 64 westbound slow traffic as you approach the Poplar Street Bridge, and 40 westbound stop and go Hampton to Big Bend. 64 eastbound slow from Chesterfield Parkway West to Maryville Center. 40 eastbound slowing 270 to Spady, and stop and go 170 to Big Bend. 170 southbound jammed Ladue to 40. 270 northbound slow, 55 to Gravois and Big Bend to Manchester. Drought, war, and rising food prices have doubled the numbers of families facing malnutrition. You can help. $50 provides a food kit to feed a family for a month. Just text the word radio to 97646. I'm Kat from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Thursday at 9:41, best-selling author and Trump advisor Dick Morris is in to talk about the possible 2024 campaign for Donald Trump.
Weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
The Marshall Tucker Band, the 50th anniversary tour. Saturday, October 8th, the Family Arena. The Marshall Tucker Band. Can't you see? With Pure Fairy League and Atlanta Rhythm Section. Reserve seats on sale now at the Carroll House box office at the Family Arena or at Ticketmaster. The Marshall Tucker Band, the 50th anniversary tour.
It's the Sail On Tour 2022, starring Orleans, Pablo Cruz, Firefall,
You are the woman that I've always dreamed of.
Peter Beckett, the voice of Player, and Walter Egan with Sail On 2022, Saturday, October 15th at the Family Arena. Tickets available at the Carroll House box office located at the Family Arena or at Ticketmaster.
If you're like most Americans, you're pretty much in disbelief with what's going on in the world. As we all know, global problems are having local consequences. Too many of them. And if the peanut butter really hits the fan, are you ready? Grocery store supply chains are only as strong as their weakest link. Don't wait for them to break. Now's the time to secure emergency food for everyone in your family. My Patriot Supply is America's largest preparedness company. Our specially packaged and delicious food stays fresh for up to 25 years in storage. It'll be there when you need it. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com and pick up several emergency food kits. There are a dozen different sizes that average over 2,000 calories per day. Our food kits will ship quickly and discreetly to your door. Having food storage in your home beats government food lines hands down. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com today and prepare for what's coming. MyPatriotSupply.com.
The candidates.
We're going to win this campaign.
The issues.
Gas prices, Biden inflation.
The election news, analysis, and opinion you won't get anywhere else. Decision 2022 happens.
There's a backlash coming
on News Talk STL. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and NewstalkSTL.com.
It's actually kind of a holiday today, guys. You didn't know that, did you?
No. Did not. No.
Yeah, you're celebrating right now, even though you don't realize it.
Okay, now you're gonna have to explain this.
Yeah, I will here in just a second. All right, it's 7:52. I'm Mike Ferguson, Gabe Pfeiffer, Ken Williams here. I was looking over because I'm going to the Warrant show tomorrow at Family Arena, which
my cherry
there you go. That's right. Which should surprise nobody that I'm going to an 80s rock show, 80s metal show.
Not at all.
But I was looking over, like, tonight, Jeremy Camp is going to be there, Christian singer Jeremy Camp. I've met him because I used to do Christian radio a long time ago, and great guy.
I only hear good things about Jeremy Camp.
Oh my goodness, yeah, and I've talked to him a few times. I met him once, only hung out because I was actually the one time I did music radio. I was a Christian music DJ, and Jeremy is just an awesome guy. What an amazing story his life has. You know, his first wife diagnosed with cancer literally weeks after they got married.
Yeah,
she passed away a short time later. He later remarried. He's got a beautiful family now. He was actually recruited to play college football.
I did not know that.
Great athlete. And he said just felt called to go into ministry, and he's done very well.
Yeah.
With it. But and then tomorrow,
okay.
all of us sinners are going to take over the place instead of all the Christians tonight. And I would actually, if I didn't have to get up so early, I'd love to go see Jeremy again. But yeah, I was looking over Family Arena's concert lineup because we just had that ad that aired, and I'm thinking there's actually a lot of great shows there, so they really check it out. Just look up Family Arena St. Charles. There are some fantastic shows. But tomorrow it's Warrant and Lita Ford, and there's somebody else on that bill, and I don't remember who it is. But it's
I can't remember either.
Yeah, so I'm going to be there. So if you're there, say hi. love to see you. But today, let's celebrate today here.
Okay.
It is National Coffee Day, guys.
Oh!
Raise your mugs. Raise your mugs.
Okay.
There it is. I
Right,
told you
yes.
you were celebrating.
National Coffee Day.
That's right. National. Okay, so real quick, there's some places you can get some freebies, okay?
Okay.
Now, unfortunately...
I hope it's not Starbucks.
No, I don't
Good.
see any Starbucks.
Good.
Okay, so unfortunately for some of these, you've got to be a member.
Oh.
But other ones you don't have to.
I'll sign up.
I didn't know that Dunkin' Donuts has perks memberships.
Really?
I guess.
Okay.
So as an incentive to just keep eating more donuts.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
But Dunkin's is giving perks members a free medium coffee if you buy anything else. So go in and buy a 50-cent donut.
Right.
You're good there. Krispy Kreme. Now this one is the way to do it. They're just giving away a free coffee or iced coffee. And if you are part of their rewards members, you can get a free donut too. But if you just want a free coffee, just go to Krispy Kreme.
See, they're awesome like that. When
Yeah.
my daughters graduated from high school, they offered a free dozen donuts for
you
each
go.
graduate.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. If you go to Krispy Kreme Donuts and say, I want my free coffee, you're going to look around and smell all the donuts, and you're going to buy something.
Yeah,
absolutely.
This one was kind of funny to me. Burger King has rewards membership, can get a free iced coffee.
Iced coffee.
Membership to Burger King?
I didn't even know they had that.
I mean, do you walk into a fast food place and go, I'm a member? It's Burger King, people. I'm just saying it's Burger King.
Well, I mean, all these places now, they're doing rewards to try and, corner the market on the competition, and you do get some freebies after a while. You spend the $5,000 at Burger King. I'm sure they'll give you a free small French fry.
Once a year, you get to meet the Burger King.
Yeah,
the king.
They'll
the
give you
king.
a crown. See, I think that's that. A lot of those things are more about having your contact information for marketing. I think as much
absolutely.
as anything. Okay, but here's a quick study here. A study just in time for today, National Coffee Day.
Okay.
Finds that people who drink 2 to 3 cups a day, that would be us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
27% less likely to die than non-coffee drinkers.
Okay.
Just
So we may
period?
not die.
Right.
Just die, period.
Okay, now this study was in the UK.
My wife is immortal.
That's right.
It's like, oh, my gosh.
These are people over 40, and they checked back over 10 years, people who are regular coffee drinkers, and they found that regular coffee drinkers were more likely to be alive after a decade than non-coffee drinkers. Now, the interesting thing in UK, because when you go to the UK, like coffee is not a thing there like it is here.
They drink
tea. Yeah.
They drink tea, and if you want coffee, it's like instant coffee. Like you have the hot water and you pour the grounds that dissolve it. That's their coffee.
That's their coffee. Yeah,
Because
they don't
tasty.
brew their coffee.
No,
really.
no, they don't. Which was because I actually grabbed some of those on the way back when Rachel and I were in Scotland, 4 years ago. And because at first it took some getting used to because it tastes very different. It's not fresh coffee.
Yeah,
but that's their idea of coffee over there.
And that freeze-dried coffee could be actually more potent than regular coffee.
Yeah, absolutely.
Concentrates the caffeine.
Mm-hmm.
The average coffee drinker in the United States has 3 cups a day. 3 cups a day.
That's called addiction, folks.
I'm about 2. I'm at 2, I think. Roughly.
And the Midwest here is the part of the country that detests decaf the most, although I'm drinking a decaf at the moment.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you have a reason.
All right, just ahead here, President Biden, we got to talk about this, folks. His cognitive situation, not politics, not policy. We got to talk about the man who's in charge of the country. Mike Ferguson here. Retirement should be a time you can relax. No more stress from work. But there's one thing you can't forget about when retiring. That's your money. Do you have enough saved to fund your income for life and keep up with inflation? How will you claim your Social Security benefits? And what about long-term care? The ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel is here to help answer all of these questions. You can hear their latest views on the markets and investing during On the Money, hosted by Stifel financial advisors Bob Stockdale and Eric Robert every Saturday morning at 9 right here on News Talk STL. They can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com or call 636-695-2650, 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Hey, Columbo here for our family dentist, Dr. Matt Boscia at New Creation Dental Care, a one-stop solution for all your family's dental needs, including braces. Dr. Boscia uses the My Forever Smile Braces system, which straightens teeth many times in less than a year for half the price of traditional braces. Traditional braces or Invisalign can cost $6,000 or more, but Dr. Boscia only charges $29.98 for My Forever Smile, and incentives and insurance can lower the price even more. Plus, New Creation offers in-office financing. Learn more at newcreationdentalcare.com.
Are you tired of hard chlorinated water drying your skin out, tasting bad, and ruining your fixtures? Jones Air and Water Treatment has a solution to this pollution. Our Hydratech H2O leaves you with great tasting, soft water at all fixtures in your home with one unit. Call Jones Air and Water at 636-899-1040 or visit us on the web at joneswater.com. You can be a filter or buy a filter. Jones Air and Water, 636-899-1040 or joneswater.com on the web. Call us now.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. The waters of the Atlantic, the next stop for Tropical Storm Ian, but not before it finishes pummeling East Florida, including Orlando, Jacksonville, Daytona Beach. Ian is packing 65-mile-per-hour sustained winds now, and it's dumping flooding rains. Earlier, as a Category 4 hurricane, Ian devastated southwest Florida, destroying homes and infrastructure, leaving more than 2 million people without power. And one hospital in Port Charlotte took a direct hit, forcing relocation of some of its sickest patients.
The storm surge from the hurricane flooded a lower-level emergency room at HCA Florida Fawcett Hospital, and fierce winds ripped away part of the roof from its intensive care unit. Doctors say water gushed down into the ICU as emergency patients were taken to other floors, some who were on ventilators. The medium-sized hospital spans 4 floors, but patients were forced onto just 2 because of the damage. I'm Donna Warder.
And once Ian moves into the Atlantic from northeast Florida, could regain hurricane status before moving up the coast, impacting coastal Georgia and the Carolinas. Fresh questions about President Biden's mental capabilities after Mr. Biden repeatedly called on a deceased Congresswoman, Jackie Walorski, during a White House hunger conference the other day.
Representative Governor, Senator Braun, Senator Booker, Representative Jackie, are you here? Where's Jackie? I didn't think she was going to be here.
The White House press secretary later explaining that the Indiana Congresswoman who died in a car accident just last month had been top of mind for the president at the time he spoke. Watching Wall Street ahead of this morning's opening bell, the Dow futures down 296 points, NASDAQ futures off 183. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Relief Factor, pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. Relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
And now a small business setback is assessed by a beloved family pediatrician.
Oh, hey, Tiger. Big scary tree branch give your work truck a boo-boo? Yeah. Wow. See this thing on my phone here? It's the Progressive mobile app. Just push that little button there and report your claim. Attaboy.
When owning a small business gets painful, Progressive Commercial is here to make it all better. Get a quote in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
What's this? Candy drawer? Who wants a lollipop?
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Covered subject to policy terms and conditions. Total claims not available in all states or situations.
Russia's Vladimir.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. 270 eastbound is closed between Washington Elizabeth and West Florissant for an accident involving a semi. Traffic is jammed as you approach New Florissant. 270 westbound, an accident has the 2 left lanes closed at West Florissant. Traffic is at a standstill approaching 367. 55 northbound stop and go from Weber Road to Gasconade. Construction work has the roadway reduced to 2 lanes. And 4064 eastbound at Big Bend, there's an accident in the right lane. Traffic is jammed as you approach 170. The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation has been at the forefront of inflammatory bowel disease research and care for over 50 years. Learn more about research, education, and support at Crohn'sColitisFoundation.org. I'm Kat from the Newstalk STL Traffic Center.
From the Newstalk STL Weather Center.
Our beautiful pattern continues. Yesterday's high was 67 in St. Louis. Today, we're going to climb up to about 70 degrees, so a little bit of a warm-up after a chilly start, but lots of sunshine, very little cloud cover, light winds from the east. Lows tonight in the 40s, the high tomorrow about 73, continued sunshine on Friday and right through the weekend. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Get ready, because here they come.
1, 2, 3, 4.
It's Beatlemania all over again with the Fab Four, the ultimate tribute to the Beatles. Entertainment Tonight says seeing the Fab Four is just like seeing the Beatles.
Hey Jude.
The Fab Four takes you through the 60s with the music that changed our lives. It's a show you won't want to miss.
Saturday, October 1st at the Family Arena. Tickets on sale now at the Carroll House box office located at the Family Arena or at Ticketmaster.
It's the Sail On Tour 2022, starring Orleans, Pablo Cruz, Firefall,
You are the woman that I've always dreamed of.
Peter Beckett, the voice of Player, and Walter Egan with Sail On 2022, Saturday, October 15th at the Family Arena. Tickets available at the Carroll House box office located at the Family Arena or at Ticketmaster.
The news and talk
219 Democrats voted to defund the police.
that matters to St. Louis.
And take away resources from law enforcement.
News, analysis, opinion.
A plan for a new direction.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
It's a miracle we're not in prison.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
Are you kidding me?
Get up, can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
Yeah, it's kind of a thing.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
This is your cousin.
You're seeing coverage on the national news, even the mainstream news, about what happened with the president yesterday. Literally about a 10-second statement and question that the president was making at a White House they called it a conference. Basically, it was just kind of a one-day meeting over like hunger and food and nutrition and stuff like that. You've heard it from Town Hall, you've heard it from Fox, but those are conservative outlets. But you also see it on the Hill, and you've also seen it on the mainstream as well regarding not just a gaffe. I mean, everybody is going to say a gaffe. I mean, God knows I do it enough on this show.
Oh, sure.
Everybody's going to say something every once in a while. And with Joe Biden, we poke fun at it all the time because he gets confused, his sentences get garbled, but we're seeing a pattern of things that are more than he gets nervous and jumbles his sentences.
Yeah.
We've got real evidence, obvious evidence of cognitive decline here. And I actually think it's more serious. I think that there are too many conservatives who are kind of taking joy and saying, look at this, it's Grandpa got dementia. It's Grandpa Simpson that's up there and it's really funny. And, when somebody says something that's kind of a senior moment, that's one thing. But this is the guy who's the president of the United States. So I'm gonna play the audio of what he actually said and the situation around it and the White House's response to it. But keep in mind, this isn't about he's liberal and we're conservative or libertarian, that he's Democrat and we're either Republican or independent or libertarian or whatever. It's not about any policy that we think he's wrong about. It's not about his primary opponents. It's not about his potential opponents. It's not about Ron DeSantis. It's not about Donald Trump. It's not about any of that stuff. It's about right now. You have a president of the United States who is showing signs that he is in cognitive decline, that he's in cognitive arrest of some kind. And if this were happening to anybody else in your life, you would be really worried and you would feel compelled to do something, at least go to the family, go to the boss saying, hey, I think that Joe's struggling here. Maybe he shouldn't be around power tools. Maybe he shouldn't be driving. I remember when we started to see these signs from my mom's mom, my grandmother. Well, it turned out it was Alzheimer's disease, and she didn't drive to start with because of physical limitations, but there were things that needed to be done to take care of her. We've got the president of the United States who didn't. Well, what he did is he was at this meeting and one of the Congress people who was involved in this particular event was the Congresswoman Jackie Walorski. I want to make sure I say it right. Well, she was the one who was tragically killed in a car wreck about 4 or 5 weeks ago. And they played a tribute video to her because she was instrumental in this particular program. And even after that tribute video
at the event,
to mourn her death, the president gets up and he's thanking the different members of Congress there, and he says this.
Representative Jackie, are you here? Where's Jackie? I didn't think she was going to be here to help make this a reality.
And I know there's a lot of conservative hosts out there that are just like, she's dead. He doesn't. Okay, this is really sad, folks. I mean, this is, and particularly Democratic friends, liberal friends, 314-912-1019. If you don't think we should be concerned outside of the partisanship, please let me know why. I truly am all ears.
I think what's really sad is the fact that this has been happening since he's been in office. And we've been talking about his decline since he's been in office. No one has actually put him into a test. The media has protected him in every turn. And now this. I mean, nobody should be surprised by this.
Here's how the White House spokesperson, Karine Jean-Pierre, because she knew she was going to get asked about that. And there was some back and forth. And by the way, the question you're about to hear was not from Peter Doocy. This wasn't from Fox News, okay? So she's responding to it, and then she gets a follow-up question, and there's just nowhere for her to go, but she tries. Talk about protecting him, like Ken was just saying. This is what she had to say.
Look, he was at an event, you all saw, you all watched, which is why you're asking the question, right, where he was calling out, again, congressional leaders, a bipartisan leadership that we have seen on this particular issue. And again, he's going to see her family in just 2 days. And she was on top of mind. I mean, that is not an unusual scenario there.
Karine, I have John Lennon top of mind just about every day, but I'm not looking around for him anywhere.
When you sign a bill for John Lennon as president, then we can have this conversation.
Okay. That makes no sense at all.
Yeah.
I hate that snarky rejoinder. My goodness.
Is it better that you're the president of the United States signing legislation when you're showing these signs?
No.
I mean,
that's worse.
That's what she's arguing here. And
guys, could you imagine being her family?
Oh my goodness.
And hearing, I mean,
the Wolarski family.
Yeah, the Wolarski family. Hearing that, and for that split second, you're like, oh my God.
Yeah. It's a month. It's been a month.
Yeah,
it's a month.
Right. And, here's the thing is that as we get into advanced age, there are things that slow down our reflexes and things. I mean, that's one thing if, somebody's grandfatherly or grandmotherly and it takes them a split second, oh, I see what you mean, or something happened. Okay, that's not what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
We're talking about not being present in reality.
Yes.
Is this happening in the Situation Room when decisions are being made, where literally a just simply the words of the president are activation for something?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And consider all of the international situations where he has to be involved in, right? Where he's sitting down and he's having discussions, high profile discussions with other world leaders. We are not in the position right now. I mean, we're never honestly in the position where we can afford to have a president who is so obviously cognitively limited. But my goodness, the way the world is right now with Russia threatening nukes and China threatening Taiwan, we can't afford somebody who isn't present in the moment and at the top of the ticket here.
Gabe, that is an awesome point because recently Biden was asked about China. And what he would do if they invaded Taiwan.
That's right.
And what did he say?
He basically committed U.S. troops to the effort.
Okay.
Right.
And that's just one example.
To everybody.
That's one example. He also was asked about the pipeline, the Nord Stream 2.
Yeah, which there was an explosion, 2 days ago?
Yeah.
And it's ruptured.
Yeah. And
major issues.
But he said things that led people to believe that maybe he might have had something to do with it. We don't know. I mean, we just don't know.
Yeah, this is one of those where it's really hard because we tend to see everything through a partisan lens.
Right.
And you can still hate everything that Joe Biden is standing for and the legislation that he's and I think the spending has been reckless. I think the inflation we're dealing with is because of his and congressional Democrats' policies. Okay, you take all that away. You've got the president of the United States who clearly has moments of complete cognitive disability. And I don't know how else to say it. I mean, there are times where he checks out and he's just staring at something, and the White House has become very adept at, okay, time to go, and ushering reporters out of a room. A friendly audience. But in this case here, and I don't know which reporter was saying, well, John Lennon's top of my mind every day. Well, I may want to check out some new music sometime. But anyway, John Lennon's top of my mind, but I'm not looking around and looking for him. So, he had a snarky response, but she represents the White House, and she actually amplified the problem. Well, when you're president of the United States and you're signing legislation, in honor of John Lennon, we can have that conversation. That's the point. He's not. Right. So it's harmless if he thinks of John Lennon every day, and he doesn't think of John Lennon and saying, boy, I wonder if he's around here somewhere. I'd love to see him.
Hey, John. Stand up and be recognized for your great music. Imagine that. Imagine. Hey, if we were just at a dang awards ceremony, let's say we were at the Grammys, and an elderly musician is up on stage, they're thanking all the people who contributed to them, and an artist who died a month ago who they just had a tribute to. They ask for them to stand up and be recognized. Everybody in the room would understand that there's something really, really wrong there. You would, if you're an artist who's signed to their label, you're worried. You know what I mean? You're like,
right.
And we're just talking about music. Now amplify it to somebody who signs legislation, somebody who sits in international negotiations, somebody who's got the frickin' nuclear codes. Right. This is not something to be joked about at this point.
And it's one of those things as well, Ken, that it's not that somebody can say, I'm going to do this, and somebody go, no, Joe, you can't do that. He's the president. Whether he's within his faculties or not, he has authority.
If I was a candidate right now in the Republican Party, I'd be saying, okay, here's another reason to inoculate you from the Biden administration and make sure that if he says these things and goes off like he does, at least we'll have Congress to protect you against
buffer
it.
You.
Yeah, buffer.
Oh, my goodness. 314-912-1019. Again, yes, I want to hear from everybody, but particularly the liberal friends. I'm not interested in arguing with you over the policy and the politics of it. We'll do that other time, and we'll do it. But is there a reason that we shouldn't be this concerned? I mean, you're seeing what I'm seeing. Are you seeing something different? I mean, we see it regularly. Confused, literally walking wrong directions. He's very unsteady on his. He's not in good condition. This doesn't have anything to do about who the past president or future president is going to be. I'm talking about right now. We're in a perilous world. All right. Got that. Got some news updates for you still ahead here at 8:20 on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Stop it right now before you blow us all away. Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up, this is your cousin car. Get up, what are you waiting for? Get up.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
You want to give me more information?
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Unbound.org. 270 eastbound is closed between Washington Elizabeth and West Florissant for an accident. Traffic is jammed as you approach Graham Hanley. 270 westbound at West Florissant, the crash has 2 left lanes blocked. Traffic's jammed to 367. 170 southbound stop and go Brentwood to 40. 40 eastbound, there is a crash at Big Bend blocking the right lane. Traffic is stop and go all the way from Limburg. And 40 westbound stop and go Boyle to Big Bend. Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice: continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org. I'm Kat from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
The St. Louis Young Republicans and 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL is proud to present the Freedom Fest Barbecue, Sunday, October 9th. Tim Jones and I will be emceeing the luncheon at the St. Louis County GOP headquarters. Adult tickets are $30, student tickets are $20, and kid tickets are $5. We will have special guests like Attorney General Eric Schmidt, Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft, State Senator Bill Eigel, and more. Stand against tyranny, strengthen the conservative movement, and enjoy tasty eats at the Freedom Fest Barbecue. For more information, visit NewstalkSTL.com.
Hey folks, here's great news for active aging seniors. The Kanega Watch, the only medical alert smartwatch with built-in fall detection. Yeah, the Kanega Watch is much different than the other guys. It's a stylish, discreet watch you can wear all the time. Get help through the watch in one of 3 ways. Your voice, pushing the watch's alert button, or have the fall detection connect you to a U.S.-based 24/7 monitoring center who'll speak to you through your watch and can send help to your GPS location nationwide. And get this, it can do that even if you're not responsive. This is true 24/7 peace of mind for you and those that love you. Order your Kanega Watch with a full refund 30-day trial period. Call now, 800-413-7152. 800-413-7152. 800-413-7152. That's 800-413-7152.
Fox News commentary.
Our illustrious president once again made himself look like a bumbling idiot. The latest and greatest example is next.
With each mortgage-free home, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation delivers on its promise to do good and never forget the sacrifices of America's heroes. These heroes need your help. That's Gold Star and fallen first responder families with young children, our nation's most catastrophically injured first responders and veterans, and even our homeless service members. Help these heroes now. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. That's T, the number 2, T.org.
Joe couldn't get any more cringeworthy. Wednesday at the White House Conference on Hunger, Nutrition, and Health, he sought out and called out a deceased Indiana congresswoman for recognition. He repeatedly searched the crowd for Indiana Republican Representative Jackie Walorski, who died in a tragic car crash along with 2 of her staffers over the summer. Congresswoman Walorski was part of a bipartisan group of congressional leaders who advocated legislation pushing for the conference last year. You know, it was nice to see Joe reach across the aisle to give her credit and express gratitude, but he apparently wasn't familiar enough with her to remember she's no longer with us. Look, sometimes Joe makes an honest mistake. This was not that. This was on another level of cringe and embarrassment. You'd think his staff would brief him on something as significant as the death of the representative who pushed for the conference to take place in the first place, but clearly not. Can we all just admit that Joe Biden is cognitively unsound? With each passing day, it becomes more obvious. I'm Tommy Lahren.
Talk radio made in St. Louis for St. Louis. This is News Talk STL.
Our responsibility.
News, analysis, and opinion.
To provide updated guidance.
At 1019, 941, and NewstalkSTL.com. News, analysis, opinion. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 941, 991 HD3 and NewstalkSTL.com.
314-912-1019. Got plenty of time to get your thoughts in on not just the latest gaffe of the president. I mean, if it were just a normal gaffe, I would put it into one of those, ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States, and then he says something garbled, and then I play Hail to the Chief. And those are, if I do say so myself, kind of funny.
They are funny.
They're kind of hilarious.
I'm not doing that with this one yesterday, when he was so far out of reality, out of the moment, that he was asking, where is somebody who died a month ago?
That's a good move.
That's
Mike.
not normal. So
we have streaming. We stream on YouTube,
right,
and Rumble and Facebook. And one of our listeners said he feels like very vulnerable now.
That's an interesting word to use. Yeah, and I see where that's coming from. That's not a word I would have thought of, but now that I think about it, that's my reaction. Is that makes sense. The world's a dangerous place,
Ricky.
Yeah, that's an interesting observation, Ricky. All right, 8:23 right now. Got Gabe Pfeiffer here. Got Ken Williams here. Let's see here. Let's do a quick update here. Ian is kind of crawling up the central part of Florida right now, headed towards South Carolina. Much of Southwest Florida is just in shambles right now. I mean, the pictures and the videos that are coming out of there, absolutely devastating. Fox News' Eben Brown has this report from Tampa.
Blistering winds and record storm surge were the work of Ian in places like Fort Myers and Naples and Sanibel. People tried to take video with their phones, looking over what was left and what was surrounded by salty, mucky seawater.
That was my house. My house is gone. So, for everyone wondering, it's not livable.
She's not alone. Even if homes are standing, they could be waterlogged and will need immediate recovery to avoid mold and rot. And even if damage is minor, the power is not on, which means no air conditioning. And it's hot. In Tampa, Eben Brown, Fox News.
Now, we have some experience with flooding, obviously, here just a couple of months ago with the flash flooding that affected so many people throughout the St. Louis area, Brentwood, North County, Clayton, St. Louis City proper. We had a lot of this. What we had here was horrible. It does not compare in size to what they're dealing with in Southwest Florida right now. Lee County, Florida alone, the officials there say they fear that there are, their words, hundreds dead.
Oh, my gosh.
Wow.
Because of this.
One of the things that they were talking about early on was especially the new Floridians not really taking the evacuation orders seriously. And then of course the you have some of the diehards who've been there, they've seen many storms, like no big deal.
I've been through this before.
I've been through this before. I'm just gonna do what I do, and before you know it, your house is full of water and you can't get out. So I imagine there are a lot of fatalities, sadly. So, but it seems as though there are a lot of emergency services out there, kind of on doing their thing. I've seen a few rescues on social media and things like that. So, but gosh, my heart goes out to all those people.
And the American Red Cross from St. Louis went down there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they've got some more people standing by, and we'll probably send more St. Louisans down there for relief efforts as well. But remember, that's the cleanup. That's after the fact.
Yeah.
And so this is also a part of Florida, because normally when the hurricanes come in, they usually hit the other side. They hit the eastern seaboard of Florida. This hits the southwest. It kind of curled around. Not that they've never had a hurricane before, but this one
it's been a long time, like 20 years or something.
Yeah, it's been a long time, and this was huge. I mean, this was huge.
Yeah, I think it made landfall as a Cat 5. I think it's
Cat 4, but
Cat 4. I'm sorry. Yeah,
it was knocking on the door of Cat 5.
It was knocking on the door of 5. It made landfall at Cat 4, and that's that's huge. And the storm surge has been ridiculous.
Oh, absolutely. And so this is something that's going to continue for, months and maybe even years as far as the cleanup goes. My mom texted me last night because, a lot of my friends are getting ready to go down because Fort Myers is where that World Series tournament is in that I would normally be going to. I mean, I can't go this year, obviously, but that's where I was last year for a week. It's hopefully where I'll get to go next year for a week. And she said, are they even going to be able to have the tournament? Because Fort Myers is just a mess right now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what the answer is to that. So it's I'm looking at some areas where I know Naples because my in-laws used to live there. I know Fort Myers because I've been there multiple times for different things. And I'm looking at neighborhoods on social media and the videos and the news video that I've been to. And I know that area. And to see it in that kind of condition is just devastating.
There's this one camera angle. It's an automated camera, I guess. It's positioned about 6 feet above the ground, and it's basically a first-person view of the storm surge, and it's amazing. The water's right up to the camera. Essentially, the wind is whipping around, so you got white crests everywhere, and it's a street. It's supposed to be a street, but now it's just a waterway.
Wow. Unbelievable. All right, some other news here closer to home here. Former Page administration official who was pretty high up in the county jail system, Tony Weaver, indicating that he may be changing his plea. He, of course, was indicted by the federal government for fraud and bribery charges, and his attorney has asked for a change of plea hearing, which is going to happen October 21st. He pled not guilty at first, but now he's requested a change of plea hearing. So clearly, it looks like he's about to plead guilty. Just another day in the Page administration.
You think it's a deal?
Yes.
You think he made a deal?
Yes. Because he could face 20 years in jail and pay a $250,000 fine. And if you're changing your plea, you're not doing it to get that.
Right.
Well, what kind of a deal you think he could have made? I mean, just to give more evidence of something else going on, maybe?
Who knows? I mean, there's a lot of federal indictments. I mean, I'm sure that. I'm sure it won't be anywhere near that, and this is something I think everybody just wants it to go away.
Yeah,
we're going to keep watching it, but it's just something to go away. Spire says that because of the less availability of natural gas for a variety of reasons, they're not talking about the regulations, but we all know they're talking about regulations. They've said market conditions and wholesale costs. They've asked the Public Service Commission to let them raise rates, and they're warning everybody right now. Come December, expect your heating bill to go up significantly.
Thanks, Joe.
I hate to say I told you so.
Yep.
But I told you so. I said the energy costs are going to spike just about as we're getting into winter. Also, I make my other prediction here. Food prices.
Yep.
Watch food prices. Meat especially is going to increase significantly. I'm not sure if it'll be your Thanksgiving dinner, but it'll probably be your Christmas dinner that will be exorbitant.
And if I recall, about a month ago, Gabe was talking to us about getting a half a steer. He said,
"Yes,
yeah,
that's right."
Yep. I'm still trying to figure that one out. But
get that chest freezer. And,
I'm going for it.
Yeah.
The last time Spire was approved for a rate increase, it was about $14 a month for the average household. We don't know what this one will be, but you can plan on it for December. That's when it's probably going to hit. All right, here's some good news. This is interesting. According to Forbes, Maryland Heights made a top 25 list. Forbes published a list of most livable communities for families in America, and the top 25 list puts Maryland Heights at number 19.
Hey, good job, Maryland Heights.
Congratulations.
Finally a good list.
There you go.
It feels good.
And also the St. Louis Cardinals, the day after partying probably all night after clinching the National League Central. They lost last night. I think we all saw that one coming.
No kidding.
They lost 5-1 to the Brewers. But that's the great thing about clinching the division is your playoff spot's not in danger.
Yeah.
Cardinals are off today. Tomorrow, they are back at Busch Stadium for a series with the Pittsburgh Pirates, and that's what they'll wrap the season up with. I think the Pirates are here for 2 or 3, and then I think the Cardinals actually end the season in Pittsburgh before the playoffs.
Okay.
I'm not mad at the Cardinals for that loss.
No.
Spot them a night. They were partying. Give it to them. Not a big deal.
We saw that coming.
But let's get back to work now.
314-912-1019. This is 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Follow us on Rumble at NewstalkSTL. For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
Hey, it's Katie reminding you to subscribe to our show podcast so you never miss anything that happens here at News Talk STL. Get our podcasts every day on the show pages at NewstalkSTL.com or just subscribe to your favorite shows on Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon, or anywhere else you get your podcasts.
From the News Talk STL newsroom, I'm Joey Vasovich. Tony Weaver, a former high-level political appointee of St. Louis County Executive Sam Page, is expected to plead guilty to federal corruption charges involving a COVID-19 relief funds fraud scheme. Weaver scheduled a change of plea hearing for October 21st. He was indicted along with 3 St. Louis aldermen after an FBI informant wore a wire capturing them involved in a series of alleged corruption schemes. Fortune released its inaugural 25 Best Places to Live for Families list yesterday, naming Maryland Heights as the 19th best place. Maryland Heights was the only Missouri location recognized on the list. Ann Arbor, Michigan finished first. The Crestwood McDonald's, where an iconic photo of musicians David Lee Roth and Eddie Van Halen was taken 44 years ago, is having its grand reopening today. There will be a ribbon-cutting ceremony with the original photographer, and the photo will be permanently displayed in the dining room. And in sports, Bally Sports and the St. Louis Cardinals will have 2 7-foot-tall greeting cards for fans of Albert Pujols and Yadier Molina to sign before Friday and Saturday's games at Busch. The cards will then be presented to Pujols and Molina before Sunday's game. And the Cardinals lost to the Brewers 5-1 in Milwaukee last night. Next up, the Redbirds wrap up the regular season with 6 games against the Pirates. The first 3 games will be at Busch. Friday night's first pitch is at 7:15 p.m. For in-depth coverage of these stories and more, go to NewstalkSTL.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Discover. 270 eastbound at West Florissant, there's a crash that has the roadway reduced to the left lane. Traffic is at a standstill as you approach Lindbergh. Westbound at West Florissant, the crash has 2 left lanes blocked. It's stop and go from Bell Fountain Road. 55 northbound jammed from Weber Road to Gasconade for road work that has roadway reduced to 2 lanes in that area. 6440 eastbound, all lanes are back open before Big Bend from an earlier crash. Traffic is still stop and go in pockets between Spady and Big Bend. 40 westbound, stop and go between Hampton and Big Bend. They could talk about how complicated other banks make it to redeem credit card rewards. Or they could talk about how with Discover, you can redeem your rewards for cash in any amount at any time. Talk about amazing. Learn more at discover.com/redeem rewards. Terms apply. I'm Kat from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
Our beautiful pattern continues. Yesterday's high was 67 in St. Louis. Today, we're going to climb up to about 70 degrees, so a little bit of a warm-up after a chilly start, but lots of sunshine, very little cloud cover, light winds from the east. Lows tonight in the 40s, the high tomorrow about 73, continued sunshine on Friday and right through the weekend. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
From home improvement to replacement, do-it-yourself electrical projects can be shocking. That's where Grasser Electric can help. They've been lighting up St. Louis for years. From ceiling fans and dimmer switches to repair or replacing your electric. No job is too big or too small for your home or business. Grasser Electric will even install emergency backup generators. So call Grasser Electric today before the sparks start to fly. 636-441-5200 or go to grasserelectric.com.
Start a podcast for your business today with Epic STL Podcasts. Engage existing and potential customers, build trust in your brand, and drive traffic to your business. Log on to NewstalkSTL.com and click on the Epic STL Podcast button to learn more.
Columbo and Katie.
This has been going on for years, especially over the last 2 years when the border has been wide open. States like Arizona and Texas and Florida, there's nowhere along the southern border for all of these people to go. And it's been Democrat policy to give migrants bus tickets and plane tickets and let them go anywhere they want.
Tony Columbo, Katie Fitzpatrick. Weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
St. Louis's place to talk.
Because that's where the votes are getting stolen. When you get into the facts and logic and reason thing, it drives me crazy because you're right.
I call it the oh my God virus.
News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and NewstalkSTL.com.
Got one of those real mixed feelings stories here. And I say this, Gabe in particular has got his NRA, National Rifle Association hat on.
What's that mean?
At the moment.
This Negro is really armed. That's what mine means. I don't know about you guys.
I can't do that.
I don't know about you guys, but that's what mine means. Keep your distance.
So we go back to July 4th.
Oh, my God.
And you remember July 4th, there was a crazy person who was shooting at a bunch of parade goers in northern Illinois.
Oh, yeah.
And so that person obviously has been arrested. That person faces probably life in prison at this point.
As it should.
Yeah, but the family members and some victims at that of that tragic mass shooting, they're now suing the manufacturers of the gun that was used. All right, so let's talk about these mixed feelings here in a minute. Fox News' Jeff Manasso has the story.
Families of 7 people killed and dozens hurt in the Highland Park 4th of July parade attack have filed suit against gun maker Smith & Wesson, as well as 2 gun stores, accusing them in part of violating Illinois' consumer laws that led up to the attack, focusing on local so-called assault weapons bans, even though the suspect purchased the gun he allegedly used legally under Illinois state law. We also now know that Highland Park police had multiple contacts with the suspect for years, though a red flag order on him was never filed. He was indicted last month on 117 felony counts in the massacre and has pled not guilty. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
Okay, so I don't want to be disrespectful to any victims, and I certainly want to empathize with the family members of those who were killed. So that's the mixed feelings part of this. However, I can still, and I would do this if they were standing right in front of me, saying you don't get to attack our Second Amendment protected human rights. So because, and especially when you look at the case where all of these things, they knew that this person was dangerous. Police knew, they were intervening. Illinois has some of the strictest anti-Second Amendment laws in the country.
Yeah, they do.
And this person chose to go on a murderous spree. And so therefore they want to sue the person who made the product. I mean, the guy who mowed down people in the Waukesha, Wisconsin, was that Christmas parade, I think it was. I don't know what kind of car he's suing, but you're going to sue Chevy, you're going to sue Ford, you're going to sue, I don't know, Toyota. Well, I don't know what he was driving, whatever it is. It's exactly the same thing. Both were used.
More people were killed there.
Yeah, it was. And both were used as a weapon of mass casualty in this case. But in this situation right here, what you've got is the added element of we're going to essentially attack everybody's right to defend themselves from the type of person who killed their loved ones.
You know, it sounds kind of like a lawyer thing. It sounds like the lawyer said, "Hey, you know who else has deep pockets and is you know sort of secondarily or tertiarily related to this whole thing? Oh, the gun manufacturers. So let's go after them." As opposed to the law enforcement people who are supposed to do their job, right? You know, we just heard if Illinois has red flag laws that are supposed to alert gun stores and not necessarily gun manufacturers, but gun stores certainly, that this person probably shouldn't be given a firearm or there should be a hold on it. it's their responsibility to fill that stuff out. You can't expect somebody sitting behind the counter at a gun store to make a split second evaluation of the person across from them and say, you know what, I don't like the cut of your jib, sir. I shall not afford you a firearm.
I mean,
no, that's not how that works.
Red flag laws are constitutionally dubious at best,
and then there's that,
and
right.
ethically dubious at best. I think that red flag laws are they've not shown not to work, and this is a case right here on this as well. But this is one where those of us who believe in the human right, the civil right of self-defense, this type of lawsuit and the type of media coverage is designed to put us on the defense. How could you possibly be so cold-hearted to go after victims of a shooting? Well, I am calling out if they're trying to respond by taking away somebody else's right. I understand the feeling of just wanting justice somehow.
Mm-hmm.
But it begins and ends with the madman who chose to take lives.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say something that may be unpopular, but I'm going to partially blame Smith & Wesson. And here's why. They gave in the first time and had to pay out a whole lot of money to people for the same thing.
There was a settlement.
There was a settlement.
Now, was that Smith & Wesson or was that a different?
It was Smith & Wesson.
Okay,
it was like $25 million.
I vaguely remember something like that, and I was severely disappointed because I said, okay, they're setting a precedent.
Yes, they are.
That if you take them to court or if you throw a lawsuit out there, you're going to get a payout, and this can only end badly.
And we talked about it.
Yeah.
And I said the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so here we are. And what's going to now, because they did get the money the last time, they're going to get it this time and next time.
Right.
Yeah. So now this becomes a settlement fight. Is constant frivolous lawsuit settlement. It goes away. Now that may not threaten our individual right necessarily to firearm ownership, because if it went to court and created a whole legal structure, then that would be particularly bad. But by basically financially crippling themselves, our gun manufacturers are going to essentially run themselves out of business, and that's going to tighten the screws on our ability to acquire firearms.
Well, and it's also a use of the legal system, assuming if there's a settlement and eventually the insurance companies they have aren't going to cover them anymore, and at some point they're going to say, okay, we're going to stop offering products for people to be able to buy for hunting or self-defense or for whatever collecting or whatever it is. And listen, I'm not, and I know this is going to sound weird and a lot of people are going to be mad. I'm not pro-gun. Okay.
Okay.
I'm absolutely not anti-gun, but I'm saying is that I'm very pro-freedom. And the reality is if you want a gun, have a gun. I'm not going to tell you that you should. I'm not going to tell you shouldn't. There are some people that, just brag about the arsenal they've got in their house. And if you don't have a gun, they don't respect you. I don't care if you have a gun or not. I don't.
Yeah. that's
the part of freedom. You can do it a different way than I do it with myself. There are some people I think are itching for a conflict because they're so, I've got a gun, I want to use it, and those people frighten the crap out of me.
No, I have weapons, but I would never want to use them outside of a shooting range.
Right.
I would really never. I hope to never would never happen, but
I am 100%, and I don't even like to say Second Amendment rights. I think the Second Amendment acknowledges a human right.
Yes, human right to self-defense.
Right. Yeah. And so anytime the whole point of a lawsuit like this is somehow limit the ability for everybody else to access what we can use for that human right of self-defense.
Yeah.
And that's the problem I've got. And I would, at the same time, try my best to empathize or sympathize with somebody who's been, who's lost a loved one to this, but still try to say you're blaming an inanimate object. You should be blaming 100% the evil, crazy person who did this.
Victims are entitled to justice, but they're not entitled to commit injustice in that pursuit.
Absolutely. And I know it sounds harsh for a lot of people to hear that, but that's just the reality. And if we're going to defend freedom, we need to be able to do it even in opposition to very sympathetic
And it's
people.
not all about feels all the time.
Yeah, it's not about feels. That's the thing is it's not about feels. It is about inherent rights, and your feelings do not get to override my right on that.
Amen.
A more powerful message is somebody to say this is why Illinois can't keep restricting gun ownership. How many lives could have been saved if he knew that he was going to face return fire?
Oh, yeah.
314-912-1019. This is 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. You're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Stand Up to Cancer. 270 eastbound is closed between Washington Elizabeth and West Florissant for an accident. Traffic is at a standstill as you approach Lindbergh. Westbound 270 at West Florissant is reduced to one lane from that crash. Traffic is backed up to 367. 70 eastbound at Warren St. Charles County line, there's a crash on the right shoulder. Stop and go traffic from Wright City. 40 westbound jammed Hampton to Bellevue, and 64 eastbound stop and go traffic Chesterfield Parkway west at Timberlake Manor. Stand Up to Cancer is a groundbreaking initiative created to accelerate innovative cancer research that will get new therapies to patients quickly and save lives now. Visit standuptocancer.org. I'm Kat from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
Columbo and Katie.
In the middle of all the drama at the border, President Biden just gave over $40 million to a group that helps illegal immigrants stay in the country. We'll discuss it Thursday with Crane Durham at 2:25.
Weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
Have you been floored? Not until you've gone to Michael's Flooring Outlet. They've been a locally owned and operated family business for more than 28 years. You want variety? Michael's has carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, luxury vinyl, natural stone, and many other options. Save money and get quality at Michael's. Plus, your installation will be done right the first time when you hire the experts at Michael's. You can shop in store at one of their 3 convenient locations or shop from home. Check out everything that Michael's has to offer at igotfloored.com.
Are you looking for the cheapest prices on car insurance? Then call the Cheap Car Insurance Hotline right now. Hey, you're guaranteed to save money on your car insurance. Most car insurances can be canceled at any time. That means if you find a better deal, you can switch right away. We're not just one company. We offer most of the major brands of car insurance. We're like a discount supermarket for car insurance. And it doesn't matter if you have a good record or a bad driving record. Our agents are experts at finding you the right car insurance for your needs. Our average customer saves hundreds of dollars a year when they call us to switch. So why don't you make this 100% free call right now and see how much you can save on your car insurance? Paid for by AIS Insurance.
800-721-5741. 800-721-5741. 800-721-5741. That's 800-721-5741.
Whether at home or at work, you're mobile. So when you're mobile, stay mobile. Keep St. Louis's home for conservative talk with you wherever you go. Download the News Talk STL app in the App Store or at newstalkstl.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning, made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
All right, don't forget my last reminder of the day, Freedom Fest barbecue tickets still available at stlyrs.com. That's St. Louis Young Republicans is what that stands for. You can also find information at newstalkstl.com. October 9th, basically plan on having lunch with Eric Schmidt and Jay Ashcroft and Congresswoman Ann Wagner and Nick Schroer and Mary Elizabeth Coleman and several others are going to be their candidates and office holders alike. There are still tickets available. I understand that there's starting to run a little low on those, but they're still available. So if you go on, you can still get your tickets, and it does help out the St. Louis County Young Republicans. Tim Jones from the afternoon show, Chris Harps from the afternoon show were the co-MCs. Ken, you said you're going to be there as well. I may be there. I'll let you know next week whether I'm going to be there. But October 9th, mark it on your calendar and go get your tickets to that. I'm Mike Ferguson. It is 8:50. Got Gabe Pfeiffer here. Got Ken Williams here. Vic Porcelli is going to be here in about 14 minutes or so. Can we talk baseball?
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk baseball. This happened in Toronto last night. Yankees outfielder Aaron Judge puts his name in the record books. Fox News' Eric Messersmith tells us what happened.
Judge had been stuck on 60 homers for over a week, but he made history in Toronto.
And the 3-2. Drilled deep to left field. This could be it. See ya. He's done it. Number 61. He's been chasing history, and now he makes it. He and Roger Maris are tied with 61 home runs, the most anybody has ever hit in a single season in American League history.
That's how it sounded on Yes Network. The homer coming off of Blue Jays reliever Tim Meza. The Yankees won the game 8-3. New York will have Thursday off before returning home for a weekend series against the Orioles starting Friday, giving Judge a chance to set the record in Yankee Stadium. I'm Eric Messersmith, Fox News.
Okay, why am I bringing this up? Because this is a National League town, right? And we know something about a home run race around here, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Okay, that's why I'm bringing it up here. So Roger Maris Jr.'s, the son of Roger Maris, who, by the way, has been traveling with the Yankees to be there to witness the tying and possibly likely the breaking of that record. His words were, if Aaron Judge or when Aaron Judge breaks that record of single season home runs and hits his 62nd one, he will consider Aaron Judge to be the true legitimate single season home run record holder and single season champion. Now, there have been 3 other people who have hit more home runs in a year. All of them in the National League, Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa, and of course, as we know here, which is why I'm bringing this up, Mark McGwire. We remember that chase. 99 was the big year. Mark McGwire hit 70 home runs. 1998, Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa both hit over 62 home runs. So 98 was the big year. Then 99, he hit more. Barry Bonds hit 73 in 2001. But all 3 of those guys were juicing.
Like badly,
especially Barry Bonds. And so I actually agree, and I know I'm literally in downtown St. Louis right now saying that I think we should look at Aaron Judge as actually the true legitimate champion, and we should disregard and forget what Sammy Sosa did, forget what Barry Bonds did, forget what Mark McGwire did. I don't think it's relevant, and I think the legitimate home run single season champion should be Aaron Judge, and the legitimate all-time home run king is Hank Aaron.
Yeah, we're a stone's throw from what is it called, Macland?
Big Mac Land.
Big Mac Land, right? We're not too far away from Mark McGwire Highway or whatever the heck.
Yeah.
Something's named after him, I'm sure. But I like we were talking about before. I think all of that excitement, all of that acceptance that we had for Mark McGwire in the city of St. Louis, I think it faded out very, very quickly after the whole craze was done, and we've kind of kept his name out of our mouths for a good long while. I think for good reason.
I don't sense that anybody's mad or hates Mark McGwire. I don't.
Yeah,
I mean, he had a great career.
Faded away.
But I think when you look back, and as exciting as that was in 1998, 1999, particularly 1998, when you think back to how exciting that was, I think we look back and kind of go, in hindsight, sold a lot of tickets, sold a lot of jerseys, sold a lot of commercials on, back then it was Fox Sports Network, sold a lot of stuff, and everybody was really excited. Man, Busch Stadium was filled to the brim every time. But looking back, it's like, that we're just not as proud of that as we used to be.
And look how they were called. Who was the guy who was calling people out in a book? He was just chastised, and he was. What was his name?
He named names.
Vic Porcelli's here. Do you
Vic.
I know which book you're talking about, but I can't think of the name.
don't. Yeah. It was the book where he called out a lot of ball players for doing steroids.
And he named names. He
named
called
names
out
and
who
everything.
was the supplier.
And
all
they
that,
just ostracized him. And back then, but now he'd probably be considered someone, a hero of some sort.
Okay, so Vic, if Aaron Judge hits 62.
Yeah.
Is he the legitimate, rightful single-season home run champion?
Well, here's the thing. I guess we have to take what we have. You know what I mean? I don't think they're going to change the record books at all.
Not.
So we have to say he'll be the single-season home run champ for the American League. I mean, that's all we can say. Roger Maris Jr., I'd like to point out, though, says that if he does hit 62, he should be.
That's right.
The Major League single-season home run.
And I agree with that.
You too.
In principle, I agree, but you're right. They're not going to change the record books for
As
this.
much as we bitch and moan about it, and
Yeah.
we can, and we're allowed to. You know.
Yeah.
All I know is, all rise as the judge, round three.
You know, I got to think.
I love that kid, I got to tell you.
Oh, I think that it looks like the Maris family is at least very happy that if the record's going to be broken, it's by another Yankee.
And it may be at Yankee Stadium, where Babe Ruth hit number 60, where Roger Maris hit 61.
Yep.
So it's only fitting that Judge hit 62 at Yankee Stadium.
So now, having been from that area, and Gabe, you too, it's obviously not the same Yankee Stadium.
No,
But
it's
when
not.
people say Yankee Stadium, they basically conflate the two, and it's just like home of the Yankees thing, right? I mean, so they kind of look at it the same way.
Mike, when I was young,
Yeah.
and I went, my dad took me to Yankee Stadium. It was the Yankee Stadium where Babe Ruth dug into that
Yep.
box.
So cool.
And Robert Merrill said, "Welcome to Yankee Stadium." It was, I mean, you got chills.
Yeah.
But the new one's kind of like the spiritual successor, though, I would say.
Jose Canseco.
What about him?
That was who the book was.
Yeah.
He wrote the book. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Remember that?
Yeah, that's right.
Listener,
That's right.
Mike
That's right.
Franco.
That's right.
Mike Franco
Yep.
was just on the phone.
Yep.
That's
Okay.
right. Hey, Ken.
All right.
I say I knew which book you were talking about. I just couldn't remember who wrote it.
Yeah.
That's right.
Our
That's
listeners are smart.
You got that right.
That's right. Oh, man. Yeah. Now, I remember going to see a game the last year of Old Comiskey Park. Something really cool about those
Absolutely.
old stadiums, man. All right. In 10 seconds, what's a highlight coming up
Dick
here?
Morris at 9:41, and our editorial cartoonist Todd Showalter is going to join us all day today.
All right. Vic Borselli comes your way at 9:04 here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Are you downright disgusted with the corruption of our Democratic leadership at St. Louis City Hall that's been reported in the news?
Hi, this is Mary Teresa McLean, chair of the Republican Party City of St. Louis. If you want to put our city that we all love back on track, you must get involved. If you're ready to be part of the solution, we invite you. Come and meet us. Learn more at stlouisrepublicans.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
Oh, Adam, you are so romantic. And I love the kitchen you found with all these great crumbs.
Yeah, baby, only the finest crumbs in the kitchen for my favorite aunt. Oh no, it's the pest control company again with those green wheels. They always kill the mood.
This is Derek, the owner of All Solutions Pest Control. Give us a call today at 636-486-7888. We'd love to help you out. Learn more about our special $67 offer. You can visit us online at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
How is your car payment treating you? What if I told you you could make a free phone call right now and reduce your car payment by as much as $83 a month? Look at your car payment closely. You could be paying as high as 20% interest. Rate Genius can help you reduce your car payments by reducing your interest rate to as low as 2.48% APR. We can refinance most existing car loans or leased cars, new or used, and save you money every month. Put more money back in your pocket. The call is free to find out how low we can lower your car payment. 5 minutes of your time right now could save you hundreds of dollars a year. Call Rate Genius now.
800-764-2179. 800-764-2179. 800-764-2179. That's 800-764-2179.
Not all applicants qualify for a loan or rate savings. Actual offer terms, including APR, are determined at the time of your application based on creditworthiness, value of the vehicle, loan term, and other factors.
KLDY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNVS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Ian isn't done with Florida yet.
This storm is having broad impacts across